Um,
Morning, everybody. We'll call the meeting to order. Start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Bow for a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we come to you as just a group of people, Lord, we're trying to do our best to do the best for the citizens of Brown County. God, remind us of who we are and who you are, Lord, and that any decision we make without your input, it won't be a good one. So Father, give us clear heads, solid hearts, Lord, and the will and the courage to do what's right. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. Good morning, everyone. Glad you're here. Glad to be here. It's pretty hot. We're getting used to it. Summer's finally come on the I guess about the 26th of July is when it got hot. It is a little uncomfortable, but that's okay. It reminds us that we're alive. I think we start to sweat. So the first on our agenda is county personnel or public comment.
There, they don't, and then when then forward in January, it will be able to be correctly, so it's not new scale, it's correctly about one section.
Okay. Okay. So they caught, there was an error in the scale, or was there an error in what they were being paid?
Yeah.
Just in this scale. Okay.
So then what group?
Mm,
Oh, excuse me, veterans, okay.
Yeah.
Over that.
Thank you.
And then I give everybody a copy of. The notice is also on.
Mhm.
I will go for the roll call.
All right.
So. So is this for 2025 or is this for 2026? And this should be 20. This is what we did last year.
It was a little different.
Okay, so I'll ask it because I'm a little confused. So I see 2024 tax is the first. And then we go to 2025. And then. So they say 2020. They think that. Okay. Okay, I think I understand.
With 11.
All right.
Right.
Huh.
So it's telling them what's going on now and not what's going on in the future.
Yeah. We're getting hung up on the year, but it's correct. Okay.
Okay.
So I see mine. If I look at it, I see like USD 430. I'm in a little different part of the world. Like they actually went down. Is that right? If I read that correct? Yeah, in the general went down, state went down. We're up, the county's up, my township's down just a touch. And then like the library's up. Okay, all right. How does it work, Nikki, when we, okay, there's one here, say the state. As I understand, the state is dropping that 1.5 next year. Okay, so when I carry that column all over to the side, how does it end up being instead of a 1.5? Oh, never mind. I see it. I got confused. I got it. That question. Yeah. It's a little hard to follow. Everybody feel good about this? Any questions?
But
Yeah, I'll study it. Yeah. Yeah. I think we can really help people out if we're informed and we can answer any question that comes to us on a sheet like this.
Yeah.
This is good. This is very good. Even, yeah, very good. We're gonna have to dig deep. Pay this, right?
Yep.
Okay,
One question. So this is what, this reflects the taxes we'll pay in December. Or not? Is it what we paid last December?
That's the first half.
Yeah. So this reflects that, or
November.
are you still not clear? Now's the time to get it answered. There's no shame, no embarrassment.
well,
But if you have a question, chances are someone else does too.
I don't know how. So I'll go back and compare what I paid and. Or this. I'll check with him.
Okay, so when I paid my tax in the first part of December of last year, I paid at my house. That number, I remember, is 6,400, which is, you know, that was my taxes on the home place. So in 2020, when I get my bill in November, it's going to be this, if we make no changes, it's gonna be that third column, proposed tax, if we, that's what it'll change to. And that'll be my taxes for the upcoming year, which is.
I'm always confused about that when it comes out. You pay your whether it's a 24 taxes or 25 taxes or.
We pay the taxes for the. Right, but we're, how do you explain? We're not paying a hit on taxes, we're paying for the year. Previous,
That's kind of,
right?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's what.
Well, again, if you got a question, now's the time to answer. We got 10 minutes.
Let's go look at my tax forms.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Well, as commissioners, it's our job to know this thing frontwards and backwards and.
Right.
But I will admit, a lot of times I can read that and I can confuse myself trying to make the numbers work. And again, if we have questions, then that means somebody else will, so. But I thank you for putting this together. And I think this, is this all new? Or have you done this before, the explanations? I think that's great. I think even how you figure a mill and what R&R actually means. And I think this is one. I've been listening to the radio when I'm farming and Atchison County is gonna go 11 over, Nemaha County's 5 over, they're revenue neutral. Those are the two that I've heard of. So I guess we fall somewhere in the middle. Okay, any other questions on this? Rich, did you have any? You knew it all? Any questions at all? Okay, good.
I don't know it all, but
Good for you. All right,
I'm not know it all.
Didn't-
Because something always changes.
we'll get this in the minutes too here that Tammy, our road and bridge secretary, presented us with the schedule for that 270th Street project. Looks like it's on the books to start Monday, August 11th. With an estimated completion date of Thursday, September 25th. And they will attack this project in segments, working from the east to the west. It's like they'll go a mile at a time. So that project's on the books to get rolling. That'll be exciting. I'm sure the people in that part of the world will be glad to have it go. So, all right. Okay, we got anything else in county personnel or public comment time? If not, let's go on to the minutes of last week's meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as presented? No? Is there a motion to?
I'll approve this motion to approve the 7/21/25 minutes.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All
Aye.
right, motion carried. Let's roll on to payroll. Any questions or comments here?
I move to approve the 7/25 payroll.
Okay, is there a second?
Second that.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carried. Now we're on to the roof maintenance agreement with more explanation from Stan Field. Okay. At our last meeting, we were a little confused as to what was what. I called and talked to Vern, the salesman, and he sent an email out to our county clerk with more explanation. Are there any questions or comments here?
I didn't quite find this new checklist to see. I didn't count them up the same as he did it, because he said there was what, 23 things they checked. 23 items we checked,
Okay,
like it was about 21, but maybe counted it different. Counted each notes and, I don't know.
I didn't count them, Bill.
But 21 or 23 is not much difference.
Okay. So the prices he had, the prices that were listed on that last sheet. That is for a roof inspection program. That's no maintenance. Other than if they do the roof inspection, to my knowledge, they'll clean the drain. And I think that's it, clean the drain. So his advice was with the roof on both of those buildings, this one and Historical Society. That we probably should get in touch with the roofing contractor. We tried it. Okay. Okay, they're both still in business. Oh, okay. Would it be helpful if I called too? You know, so you got to burn up the phone line? maybe after the meeting, would you give me their numbers and I'll call them? So, anyone have any questions on this? Do we want to engage Stanfield Roofing to do an inspection on the buildings?
Just a reminder, that's just inspection. There was mention in there that repair, they would give you an estimate to repair it, but their statute does require but if it's over 25,000, it has to be by federal letting. The lowest, that's bid by statute, so we would not be able to just award the repair contract to them just because they did the inspection. We'd have to do it by public letting.
Sure. But that's at $25,000.
Yeah, it's in excess of 25,000.
Okay. So I, excuse me, when I was on the phone with him, he works in, oh, I forget how many counties, I think 100 counties in the state. He was very aware of the process and all of that. He seemed to be pretty knowledgeable, encouraged me to work on those two buildings, like I said, to call to the contractors we had, there might be some sort of warranty to stand before they, might stand behind some of the things that are wrong. So we'll make that happen. The rest of what they got here. So Kevin, would they give you an estimate on the work then? And if it's under 25,000, we thought it was a fair price, would we go with it?
Percent to our in policy in our policy county has, it wouldn't be a statutory requirement.
Oh, okay, this is statute.
Yeah, 19.4.
All right, 19,224. And then so if it's under 25,000, then it's subject to our policy, which is
Rebate.
3B.
Or try to solicit it. Yeah, the price is.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. All right.
I got a dumb question. What are scuppers?
What?
What are scuppers? It's got drains, downspouts, and scuppers. Not sure what that means.
Google it, man. I don't know what it means either. Just part of,
That's all right. Go on.
you just wanted to say that word in the meeting.
No, I just,
I don't know what
That's
it
it.
is. I don't know. Drainage system, a scupper. Yeah, like I said, we just don't know.
figure you guys do.
No, I don't know much about this. I don't know the terminology. And I can work through some.
Heard it used before, but I can't remember right now what it is.
All right.
All right. Okay.
Right.
So do we want to, are we interested in the, having them look at the roof, having them do an inspection?
I would say, I'd be inclined maybe if we did it once a year, but I don't think we're gonna need it twice a year.
Okay.
I mean.
Okay.
My thing is if we're gonna have it inspected by the insurance company, if a hailstorm comes through, and or something comes through where we have an event.
That's kind of what I thought, but then I thought, well, if you have damage from ice and freezing and stuff, and it says they're all somewhere in lanes, it might.
All right. Well, I'll make a motion. We engage Stanfield Roofing with option 2 there, which is one inspection done in the fall for a cost of $802.02. I'll make that in form of motion. Is there a second?
I would second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right.
Okay, motion carried. All right, we'll get that going, and I think, I mean, if nothing else, we can, if we don't like it, we don't have to continue it. So,
So that was supposed to be the K Camp was going to give us a discount.
If you're 40%. Or
On our inspection. Something like that.
okay, all right.
Bill, the scupper is the. I googled it for
If
you.
we,
That's what they call the plastic thing that would sit on the roof, the flat roofs. With a drain to take the water off the roof. So they're checking the areas where the water comes. Actually off the flat roofs, full roofs.
Okay, off the back of there.
Yeah, that's what sits on top of the roof.
Okay,
Something along.
Now you
Alright.
know. Now you know. All right,
thank you.
okay. All right, it's 8:29. Next on our agenda is 2026 budget with Mr. Hill, so. Everybody find your way back there. Do you have new paperwork for us, or are we able to look at what you submitted?
Case numbers to all of you and, what
Yeah.
other counties have, so it's information from the board. But I think you guys have all of that.
Yeah, if we go back to our 2026 budgets, we can get there. But we'll.
One difference I would say is, talk about a separate county counselor who would just do strictly county counseling and not sync and juvenile, that would probably, and I think Email does it this way, that would not then come out of my budget, that would just be a commission budget, general fund budget, and so that part would be different.
Sure. Okay, okay, well, it's 8:30 now. We can go after this. So do you have anything or that you want to tell us, or do you want us, are you feeling questions?
That's, yeah, I kind of gone through it before, so if you
Okay.
have questions.
Well, the first question I have is, were you able to work with the Information Technology Department about getting those other numbers swapped around? There were some,
Well, I understand that's happening, I mean,
okay, it's in process.
I think my understanding is that you guys just directed that to happen, so we've been informed that as of August 1, so. That's not in my budget request, the additional cost, but I think it would be Dropbox and internet, so that would be an extra expenditure.
All right, well, and then we can account for that. Just
It's
make
just
sure
being
you
the way forwards, how that now, so it kind of directly reflects more.
Yeah.
Where the.
Yeah, I know, as long as they could make some analysis on that. For budget, since that.
Correct. That would be,
You have
because it
questions?
was in our budget already.
Okay.
Would be a given that it would be moved over to you, your budget, that's all. Careful that.
Okay.
Okay. You have any questions for me? Thank you.
So you're thinking, I mean, you divided these two out, the county council and the sink. I mean, I know you presented it in here, are you wanting to do? Would you still do both, or you wanted us to split it out?
So yeah, I think it would, I mean, I think from the person you spoke to, I think what Nema Hall has done, I think would be in line. Right now, I mean, I've shown the statistics that right now, county counseling, I mean, it does include child and care cases, and we have a number of child and care cases, especially compared to other counties that pay a separate amount for a sync prosecutor. So right now I'm handling, your county counseling duties as far as advising other county offices, your contracts, just today alone, I mean, sending the vacating of the road, the purchase for the sheep property, review of contracts. I think you can tell you I'm in regular contact with her multiple times a week on various issues, some of which don't come up in the meetings, but I'm, constantly involved in that. And you add to that, our sync docket averages about 45 to 50 sync cases a year, compared to Nemaha that had 10 last year, Marshall County 35, Washington County had 10, 23, and all of those pay substantially more for that. So right now, I think we just paying 42 or something for county council. That includes all of that. You pay an attorney just to do the guardian, and I'm not being just, it's a lot of work. And I think they're all underpaid anyway, but we pay somebody to do guardian and lighting work for child needing care cases. Is that $3,000 a month? So it's close to 40,000 just to do representation of the child in court. That does not involve the initial investigative part where I'm working with the school or the school therapist or ECF investigator, law enforcement, in the middle of the night. with phone calls on, an emergency for a child and we're doing emergency hearings, that doesn't include any of that, doesn't include preparation of the pleadings and the orders and all of that. She's representing the child we're paying close to 40 for just that alone. So I mean, I definitely think the same attorney position, and I'm looking down the road when I'm no longer here, and if you're gonna be able to bring somebody in, like I said, the board nobody's gonna be able to do that for what being paid now. I think you kind of saw that last week with the guy that visited with you about taking Brown County. I think it's gonna be around 65 to 70 without maybe even adding health insurance and some of that. So I mean, that right now, it's not going to bring something in, but sinks are not something to skimp on. I think Rich has some experience just being chaplain with the sheriff's department. Those are our most meaty cases and the most important cases in my mind, where a lot of damage can happen if it's not done correctly. So, so yeah, I think that would be justifiable right now. That's not part of county attorney, but I don't think the person coming in is interested in doing it, and then frankly mentioned that it was about what he's using in Nemaha, so they quickly found out that it's not, that doesn't jive with the regular county council. So yeah, what I was throwing in on my budget would be county attorney salary. We tried to keep it close to Marshall. It's fallen substantially behind Marshall. I gave you some criminal case numbers for comparison. So county attorney is going to be your criminal cases that we have. We've averaged 191 cases the past 4 years. Marshall had 83 in 2021, 122 last year. So they've averaged 123 over the past 4 years, whereas we've averaged 191. And you compare it to Nemaha, Nemaha's had 70 average over the past 4 years compared to 191. So right now they're all paying more than what's being paid here for. And frankly, I've got the most experience of all the 4 counties. So I'm not out of line. I'm actually low. I'm sure people that want to come in after me would say I'm doing this for much less than I should be, but I don't do this, make money and do this because I do feel calling the prosecution and helping vulnerable kids out. So that's kind of where I'm at.
On your case numbers there, were you looking at the email sent from the 3rd of June? Is that where you were getting that at?
So the 3rd of June,
I'm
yeah,
trying.
that's where I have the case numbers.
I could never find it.
And then the sync numbers are just ones we got over the weekend. So we don't have the sync numbers on there.
Oh.
So the
That's
sync
all.
numbers, Marshall, 21-18, 2022 is 21, and then they had 2023-18. Nemaha, 2022 had 27, 2023 12, Washington County 15, 12. And I thought this was a typo, but they said 2024 did 1. They're paying 178,000 to their county attorney and county their St. prosecutor. So yeah, our numbers are significantly higher.
Okay, and so
So when I have Marcy down, obviously listed for requested, because Marcy does what most counties have more than one administrative assistant for. So she took a position with me for less pay than what the bank was higher paying her, but does it because she also enjoys the job. But I hate for whoever succeeds me to have to use without her. Everybody will tell you she does a fantastic job. As far as I know that as far as, I don't want to go through every specific line item, but as far as if you have questions on some of the items, I mean, office supplies speak for itself. Those are, I think we have those really low as far as the amount. The legal subscriptions, if there was a question on that, that's something called Westlaw. The old days, you had all the hardbound books you'll see in the courtroom, but they're for decoration, frankly, because nobody's opened a hardbound book in probably 10 years. They're all all research, and I actually pulled it up this morning, just when it came up on public good lighting, but if you see. This here, that's Westlaw, so Westlaw has every case, every statute, every attorney general opinion on this line research thing, and. It's a great service, but it's not the cheapest service either, so that's where the legal subscription, that's all for Westlaw.
You've had that for a while. I was in.
I've had Westlaw since, gosh.
Yeah.
I'd say late nineties is probably when they started that service. It used to be by CD-ROM, and you'd have I don't know if you remember those days, we had a CD tower that would have about 18 discs in it. You could do the search that way, and we did a lot of that, so.
Sure. Okay, so you've had that in your budget for a while. It goes up just a little, from
Yeah,
time to
a
time.
little bit this year. I mean, like everything, but,
So the special prosecutor appeals here, 25,000, that was a new item in your budget.
yeah. So I paid those in the old days out of other, like diversion or out. We had another fund, like there used to be a worthless check fund back in the day when there was a lot of worthless checks. There was drug forfeiture funds and things like that that were used for extraneous expenses. So those were there, but I know with Lloyd Group wanting us to have the actual cost to our budget in there, that's why those were moved. And real, I mean, frankly, those appeals are actually supposed to come out of general fund or commissioner's fund that we've always paid it out of our fund for some reason. So I mean, for 30 some years, we paid it out of mine, but statutorily, it's supposed to come out of general.
Okay, so that, it's kind of a two-part question in there, Kevin. So should we move this into a general fund line item?
It's up to you. I'm happy to keep it in there since we've always done it that way. Just as long as it's accounted for. It's hard to estimate because each year you don't know how many appeals you're going to have. There's some years we have multiple appeals. Some years not as many. This year we've had quite a few. I don't know. I've had quite a few already this year. I've got some more on the horizon. So you also never know when an oral argument is going to be required. So oral argument requires you to go to Topeka and argue in the Supreme Court of Appeals in an oral argument. A lot of appeals lately since COVID have been where they waive oral argument and decide based on the brief. But what those involve, a record on appeal is well over 1,000 pages of transcripts, motions, all of that. So they will try to find error in either a decision the judge made on a motion or said something in your closing argument that they found objectionable. They have a team of attorneys in Topeka that represent criminal defendants. And they go through the fine-tooth comb on every single thing that happened on 1,000 pages. So when you file your brief, they call them briefs, they're not brief, they're about 20 or 30 pages. And that's a summary of what was said and tie it to the record. So I know defense attorneys would not touch an appeal for, a single appeal for less than $10,000. My minor like that. I don't know. I could say I'm probably 4, something like that, by the time you're done, but it's a lot of time, it's a lot of hours. We do it at a discounted rate. Just the way it's always done here. I know some counties, they do a regular hourly rate, that range. I think the guy that we went last week to 300 an hour. We just do it at what the court appointed rate is for, defense attorneys. That's the way we've always done it here. I don't know what, off the top of my head, I think it was like 120 or something. And an hour's what, 423. And then special prosecutor, that's if I have a conflict or if it's, say it's a relative of, commissioner or relative of a, law enforcement or something like that, where there may be a specific conflict of interest. There's one where I'm actually the victim of somebody that threatened killed me, and he's currently charged. Well, I can't prosecute somebody I'm a victim on, so there's a special prosecutor that was assigned. Attorney General used to help us on those, and they move on their step in on. Something.
So what's the statute number that governs that though, where it's in the budget? You mentioned there's some statute.
I'd have to put that, off the top of my head, I can email that to you.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I guess if we're gonna try to do this thing right, if there's some statute that govern it, we ought to follow it. Because all that would make it go in the general fund under the commission,
yeah.
Okay, and then so if there was I guess my question is, if there's not a bunch of appeals or a special prosecutor and that's a budget item, what happens to the unspent money?
Unspent money?
Yeah.
I think it's returned to the county.
Okay. All right, and then
Back to general fund, anything that I don't spend my budget, unless it, yeah, it goes back to general fund anyway, so.
So how do you-
It's up there.
is this the same, the special prosecutor and appeals, is this the same thing that was spent out of the diversion fund a few months ago?
Yeah, I would. prosecute.
Okay,
I usually save those up, so instead of doing them every month, I.
sure,
All at once.
sure. Well, there's only one on our payroll in the diversion fund
Yeah.
from April, that. Okay, so then what happens if we budget this here, or if we move it under the commission into the general fund? What happens to the diversion fund? Does that fund still accumulate money? And if it does, where does it go?
General, diversion is under general fund. So we earmark it, well, I know it's earmarked as diversion, but I think it's under general fund. Oh, it's not. The different, okay, it's still.
So then what would we use that for? If we fund special prosecutors and appeals, either through your budget here,
Oh, through, so what I've had to use, my budget's always been artificially low, so right now, we use diversion for, Westlaw. For the brief legal research, that's been used for that. We've used it for various office expenses. If there is a conference somewhere where, I've used it to take, sheriff deputies to various conferences and national conferences. I know like Robbie Parker went to a sexual assault. I've had another officer go to a homicide one. I've had another one go to a drug, investigations one, so I paid for law enforcement to go to, various conferences.
and that's over and above like conference.
Oh, yeah, that conference is just for the KCDAA.
275 didn't buy much. of
Yeah,
it.
no, and that doesn't include the, so there's a separate called County Attorney Training Fund that is set up by statute that the county treasurer operates, and that's, out of every case filing. There's $1 as part of the court costs that goes into that fund, if they pay their court costs. So I use that for, my training, but I've taken deputies to, and the national conferences are obviously a lot better than what your local ones are. We've learned a lot from them. So I've sent them to the homicide one, drug investigations, sexual assault. Then I also paid for deputies to be trained on something called finding words, which is a protocol used to investigate sexual abuse cases against children. I paid for that out of diversion. So yeah, those have been used for that. And then I use it for regular office expenses for, I think we used it for phone, we used it for,
Because you
Westlaw,
had to, you
things
didn't
like
have
that.
enough money in your
Yeah.
budget. So like you said, Westlaw, where it's itemized here, it's $6,100.
Mhm.
And I thought I heard you say you had to pay for that out of diversion. That's because you
We
were
paid for
short.
that. I've been short, but I'd use that to pay since we didn't have nothing there to cover.
Okay, well, I'm trying to, I'm trying to understand. So if we as the commission say, all right, we like this, we're gonna fund special prosecutors, and you have it as a line item in your budget. Then so that part should be taken care of, provided the expenses fall within or under that range. But then we'll still have a diversion fund out there that we don't have. Is that the county attorney's fund or
Yeah.
prosecutor's fund, or is that our
Yeah,
fund?
it's something that commissioners approve when you approve bills. So it'll be, when you're approving the bills at the end of the month, we'll have a check payable to this, and that's where it says out of the bird.
Okay.
Where that's coming
So
from.
if we have extra money that accumulates in diversion that's not spent, does that money at the end of the year, does it roll back into the general and we zero out, or it stays there forever? Stays in diversion for ed. Okay. But we can use it to fund, should we? Do we have the authority if we wanted to pay, like you said, some other bills, say the diversion fund? Now that we fund special prosecutor 25,000, so that should be taken care of. That's the big draw. If the diversion fund accumulates, can we use it to pay some of these other expenses that go through your office?
Yeah.
Kinda, we
Yeah,
can't.
I mean, we've used it for, office expenses,
All right.
and like I said, we've used it for, I mean, we'd like for it to be used for something involving law.
Well, that would
enforcement,
make sense, yeah.
prosecution, And that's what's paid for, then to go to the, some of these national conferences are through the National District Attorney Association. And they're outstanding, so I know Rodney Parker could probably tell you, the ones he's gone to,
All right.
they've been very good, and then I think the ones that did the Finding Words protocol, that was in Wichita. That's a week-long class. They're not blood classes. You're required to take a comprehensive final at the end, and you have to, I forgot the scores, either 85 or higher to get certified. And so I've had that. So some deputies, sets training. So yeah, we tried to keep it for that. We purchased, targets for the firing range out of that in the past, so we try to use it. And this year, just recently, we purchased the sheriff's department, I think, Ridge Rockwell had requested some equipment that was purchased out of diversion as well.
Okay.
Is there kind of a way that you can let us know or keep us abreast of what things are going on, or if you're funding something, for the sheriff's department, so we know, if you're doing classes,
Sure.
just let us know, okay, I'm doing this, so we have an idea what you're doing. Just, I think it would just be.
Well, something was purchased earlier in the year for the sheriff's department out of diversion. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was Rich Rockwell. Do you remember what the specific thing was? It was out in the field, for vehicle.
It's not a, you've heard the word flashbang, but this is a light that distracts.
Like a
it's
stun
very-
light or something
Stun light,
like
very
that.
intense. You throw it into the room and people can't see.
It's not a flashbang like.
But it blinds them just with the flashing lights, so they are struggling to fixate on you when you're entering the room.
Okay. Okay, so you'll send or email me the statutory or the statute.
Yeah. I'll
You're-
do that.
Okay. We'll check that out. All right, is there any more questions for him? So my questions were all answered. And they were the IT and the budget and the special prosecutors and appeals. Did you guys have questions for him? Well, we got just 9 minutes, I guess.
Our biggest thing we're deciphering through is we pretty much have had no raises across as far as the county is across the line for in all departments. And we're just, because we have such a major cash flow this year. So we're still working through all of our process and all that,
Sure.
where we're gonna fall at. Sync and county council play a big role in how we do this, because the unknown in what county council could cost us. If we go outside, but if we keep it within here, you're saying that it's gonna be $42,000 for the sync case and 25 to do the county council. Saying if we keep it with you.
Yeah. Which I do think that's low. I think the 25, that.
Yeah.
Especially for what we heard last week, but
Right.
yeah, that's kind of what
Yeah, I would say from last week. That Brown County finds itself in a very, I guess, in a spot with a lot of other counties where we just don't have the dollars to spend. Private attorneys come at a pretty significant expense. And I mean, we all know that. I guess I was a little surprised at what it would cost to do that. So, I mean, is there any other questions? Bill, do you have anything?
I don't know,
I will say, I don't think out of line, when you look at what he is asking on his, yeah, it's probably sticker shock from what you've been paying, but yeah, if you really look at some of these, I don't think Washington has more, assets, than what we have here. They're paying 178 for, 10 case Cinco, they're paying $178,000 for county attorney and assistant county attorney, and then their criminal cases, I think, from what I showed you. The criminal caseload average is 58 compared to our 191, so I mean, they're doing it, it's just, I don't know. And I'm sure they have less of a tax base than what we have, that's what they're paying. Nemaha, I'm guessing has a few more assets, but, they're paying substantially more. Their county attorneys at about 120 right now for the same criminal without any county counselor, and then Marshall County's paying 160, close to 170 just for criminal and sink, and then they've got a separate county counselor that's making about 47. So I mean, the other counties I think that are similar to us in what we have available, I just think it's just been frankly artificially low over the last several years. And what got me thinking is I'm not going to be here forever. And this is my life, maybe my last term. If it is my last term, then you're not going to find anybody take over with what is doing. So I think now would be the time to look at it. I think the guy you talked to, I think Nemaha's been happy with what he's done and at that rate. And I think Brad probably going to look at leaving earlier, but now may not, I don't know. But yeah, I think it's in line with what similar counties are doing. So.
Seems the standard practice is to look at surrounding counties and observe what they pay and use that as a rationale for what we can pay. And I understand that to a point, other than Brown County can only afford to pay what they can afford to pay. I don't want anybody to be so far out of whack that they feel like they're getting cheated for their time. I guess, how do we handle this and be responsible to taxpayers? I mean, you were just reelected for this year with the understanding of 126,880. And we want to take this up to 166. I mean, if I read that right.
Well, actually, keeping it with that, if you're not looking at raises, I think you could keep it close to what you're paying now, just with the separate county counselor that would come out of the commissioner budget. So I think they're doing the commissioner budget, especially if, I know we've mentioned before, I don't know if the decision's been made, but I think we're the only county in the state that has 3 separate road and bridge departments. And
So
so
we're looking at that.
have all separate equipment in each department. I think there could be a tremendous savings there. I know it's been mentioned before. I know Rich has talked about trying to do that in the past, and hasn't been enough support to do that. Right? I think there's a lot there.
If we take the tax, the delinquent property tax stuff off your plate, there is an opportunity to reduce your workload. I mean, you have an active case right now, and I won't use the right language, so forgive me. But you have an active case that you've done all the work for, laid all the groundwork for, and that comes to fruition here in the next few months. Is that right?
Yeah, depending on answers and everything else.
Yeah.
We have answers.
So if we could contract with let's just say another entity and take that workload off your plate. You know, you've done it so far and we take it off. You know, how much time will that allow you to extra time, I guess, to deal with some of the additional caseload that Brown County?
Well, I mean, frankly, most of the tough part and all the exhaustive work has been done and getting it filed. So the next one will likely not be for a couple of years.
Right.
And so I don't know that would save a ton right now, but right now, I think most of the time is not only the meetings, but just all of the calls and inquiries and contract review, preparing documents and stuff like that. So that's why I think you heard what he requesting is for that, because it is a lot of work.
Okay. And then I guess the last thing, before we've got a 9 o'clock, that's okay, we're good. Kevin, how do you manage or balance the time for Brown County? We've got this ginormous caseload compared to the people around us. And this, I want this, yes, excuse me, my throat's gathering here. So you're working as the sync counselor for Atchison County too?
I do
Okay.
get sense.
And then you work for the city of Horton, and I don't know what else you do. You're very,
Evening, and so, yeah, I mean, as you heard from the guy last week, I mean, what I look at is I'm greatly underpaid compared to the neighboring counties, and so how am I able to do it? This is my 33rd year of doing this. I think I'm very efficient. I think everybody will tell you I'm very organized, and I've got a knowledge base for 33 years, that I think I'm able to address those type of cases, with that background that may take somebody else a longer period of time to do
So
it.
if we give you a significant pay raise to what you're asking for, then do you pull out of Atchison County and focus directly on Brown
You
County?
know, I have obligations to them, so yeah, I mean, county attorneys, other than in the major counties are authorized to practice. And most do because, I mean, you have to make a living, so, yeah.
No, that's
When you say substantial, like I said, I'm willing to do with what you're paying now, other than the fact, I think our county attorney pay should be comparable to, what we have in Marshall.
Right.
But I'm not asking for, when we say a significant raise, but I think going county counseling out of general fund, we'll take that out of my budget and we'll be able to contract like NEMA Hall did for county counselor, so it wouldn't be a significant raise, it would just be you guys taking that out of your general fund.
Okay, well, that's fair. Well, it's 9 o'clock, so you'll send me the statute
Yeah.
and then is there, I mean, we're basically out of time, but do you have any last second question?
No.
Okay, you, thank you for the explanation and we will roll on. So next on our agenda is a vacate the road hearing. Yeah, everybody can get back to that. Takes me a little bit of time. Got that on page, well, page 2. That was pretty fast. So, just a, yes, a point. Do we allow a certain amount of time here? There's no.
Yeah, you can just open, the hearing on.
Okay.
the Issue of, vacating.
Okay, well, it's 9 o'clock here. We're gonna.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Well,
I don't know if it was the same, we do budget here.
Yeah.
We'll open the hearing to consider a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners to vacate a road pursuant to the provisions of ASA 68-102. Do I need to read this?
I mean, it's in our,
It's in our
packet,
minutes.
So,
This is the portion of Longspur Road that we talked about a month or so ago involving Sturtons and on the south edge of Horton. And
the purpose of the public hearing is if there's any, neighboring landowners that are affected, they could come either protest or say
Right.
this is what it might damage us to have that done, so,
and we've done everything that we need to do as far as notification to neighboring landowners. It's been in the paper, it's done all that. So this is the final thing. So is anyone here to comment on Longspur Road closure? We're looking at you, Chris. You're the only one there, so. Okay. Appreciate your input.
So if it was passed, the part of the motion would be that, Gila should be vacated for the reasons set out in that paragraph 2, that
Okay. Well, seeing no protest or any comment, I would make the motion that we pass this resolution. Do we have a number on it? 2020-16, sorry. 2025-16 to vacate that portion of Longspur Road located north from 100th Street, approximately 772 feet, sections 32 and 33, Township 4, Range 17 East in Brown County, Kansas. And yeah, it'd be based on this resolution from us. Is there a second?
I'll say that.
You need more time, Bill?
Let's see, so this section 2 says. Given authority to vacate any road, in the county, when their judgment, this road is not a public utility by reason of neglect, non-use, or inconvenience. Or other cause, or causes this road to become practically impassable. Necessary, and the necessity of the said road is a public utility is not justify the expenditure. The necessary funds to repair said road to put the same condition in public travel. So the road's not in bad condition. It's just
Non-use
on use,
as a public road.
on use or inconvenience.
Are you good? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Are you There you go.
Yeah,
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
I,
Okay, motion carried. All right. Everybody signs. Oh. There's that. Okay. The next thing we have on our agenda is at 9:30, but we still got a few things we can go through here. Number 4, the 2026 district court budgets. We talked about this last week. You had some questions. Were you able to get an answer?
yeah, I went and talked to the clerk. She talked, so the contracts between the lawyers is our deal, she said. So my concern was last year when they came and asked for the increase in that section, they said it was, the budget covered it. And that increase. Anyway, so what we're paying now comes up to close to $126,000, so evidently it wasn't covered in the budget, but must have been covered in part of our other account. But she said she tried to be conservative and what's left over at the end would be returned, so. Guess our option is to, if we don't want to pay that much, we lower their rate back to what it was before we agreed to increase it, or we could just go ahead and do that. Hopefully there'll be some left over, so. And if you just lowered it $10,000, that doesn't amount to a whole lot in the overall budget, so I guess I'm good with it.
You're good? All right.
We'll see what happens. If they come back and ask for more, another increase, then
Okay.
I'll be opposed to that. But
So Kevin, do you have any insight on these budgets? And I mean, do you have any comments, I guess?
I do.
Okay, that's fair.
That's something Judge Weinder, works on that with, Joy for, so I'm assuming that includes court appointed attorneys comes out of that, so yeah, I know, I mean, we're gonna face a shortage on, attorneys. I know other counties sometimes struggle getting, court appointed, attorneys. They, with this day and age, we need to travel, we have one I know from Grant County that travels a lot to another county and does more other work there. He's not on our contracts. I think they pay more over there. So I know we're fortunate to have the ones we have here. Good job.
Okay. I spoke to Judge Weingart on Friday, just called him up, actually called his office and they patched me through straight to him. I thought that was interesting. And he was real nice and he explained basically what Bill did. They made some changes with their indigent defense, and that's the attorneys. And then they had a court reporter retire, and so they're investing in some other equipment. That's the other budget part that went up from 16 to 23.5. I did get a little lost. He said typically they return money every year. And when I look through here, and maybe Nikki, you could help me. When I'm under the Brown County District Court, part of the budgets that you laid out in our Dropbox, and it's page 2 of 4. And at the bottom, it says District Court reimbursement. And then it has a negative sign after those numbers. My assumption is that's what they turned back.
That's part of it, 4 times, what the other 3 times. Reimbursed.
That's what they reimbursed Brown County for. Okay. Okay, so if we look at, if I go back to the. So then if I go to the Brown County, this is the general fund, that's the same thing. Okay, so they, the 4 county district court is reimbursing I think I understand that. Okay. Well, anyway, Judge Weingart said they're conservative with it. And if we had a trial or some other instance what they couldn't plan for, that's why they have a little extra in their budget to account for expenses they can't foresee. So,
Jury trials are very expensive. 'Cause you've got all
Yeah.
the jury summonses.
and that's what he said. And I guess if they didn't have it in their budget, to Bill's point, we could pull money out of their budget. But if they need it for something, essentially they would just come to us and we would. So in the past, if they don't spend the money, we get it back. So it's more of a cushion, is the way I understand.
So my biggest complaint was that when they came in and asking for more last year, and they said it was in their budget, but it didn't look like it really was in their budget.
I guess I'm.
So- So. But we already approved that, so what she said that she learned from Judge Patton was that the contracts between those lawyers and the county is our deal. So it's our responsibility to take care of that, so.
If they changed, we did change when those contracts are being initiated, so it would reflect before
Okay,
we do budgets instead of after the fact.
so anyway, so I didn't want to be blindsided again by something like that, so.
Okay, and to my knowledge too, this has to be approved at a little different speed than other budget items. He needed it in before the end of August, I believe. So then we don't have. Yeah, that's there, never mind. Where is that? Well, I'm having a little trouble there because we could go ahead and approve that budget, right? Right here, I was looking for it on my screen and I can't find it. It doesn't matter, so, yeah. Okay, well, I'm looking at the hard copy right here in front of me, so we've got the two budgets here, one for the Ford County District Court budget for 2026. And the proposed budget would be $50,000. So. Oh, okay, all right. Okay,
Right.
so is there a motion to approve this? The Ford County District Court budget for 2026. I assume we do.
Approve the Ford County district budget for 2026.
Okay, and this is the one I have in my hand here of $50,000. So is there a second?
I'll second
Okay,
that.
it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. And the next one we have would be the district court budget for 2026. In the amount of $199,500. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried. All right. So I'm gonna sign here. And I'm gonna approve this as submitted because we made no changes. Circle on. Okay, well, that's done. All right. Next on the list then, got time, is the ambulance contract.
More ice, I mean, first off, I won't take ownership on drafting of this, I don't use parties as the first part. in my agreements, I'm not a fan of that, because it's confusing, but. Having said that, Duke did make, I think just a few revisions that he, sent to, Nikki. I think one was to take out city of Hiawatha, since they used to be, used to sign on the agreement. Now I think there's a separate agreement with them, and then he wanted to have a, termination provision. It was just applicable to us, where we could terminate with 120 days notice. That's for cash basis purposes, in large part. But I think he wants that to apply to him. Is that fair to say, if he were? Yeah, so I think, that's all I saw he had. But I think there's a little slight increase, is that right? No, okay. It was at, what was it, 610? Okay, I thought it was 610, okay. So yeah, I don't know.
So if there was any change that would be made, you would have it, would it reflect in your? You know, the one we have in our bud packet here, have the reflective changes. Thank you.
All right, so this is the contract between the county and Town and Country Ambulance for a period of 5 years, basically.
Um, Let me hear about.
All right.
Okay, so on about line, on Article 7. On the fourth line or so, it says. Should parties of the second part give notice of termination sooner than 120 days? What does that mean? What is sooner than 120 days? Does that mean like 150 days, or is that? Or does that mean less than 120 days?
Yeah, I mean, if they give it sooner or less than 120 days, there's a provision they wouldn't, be paid for whatever amount. I would,
So sooner means less than 120 days?
that, yeah, I didn't write it, that's how I interpret it.
Okay, I didn't know if that meant sooner meant more than 120 days or less than 120 days.
Yeah, sooner would be less.
Yeah, I would read that the other direction. I would read that to be
Longer than 100.
longer than 120 days.
If you want to change it to less than, like that, then feel free.
I'm not sure I had any problem with which way it went, but I just didn't know which.
Yeah, I would say if you gave it on 121 days prior, then we'd be sooner.
It's kind of what I was.
Does that change the contract material, Kevin? I mean, is that how you would?
Yeah. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, if he's supposed to give at least 120 days, notice prior to the end. I see where you're looking at now, Article 7.
Right.
So. But yeah, more than would be if you gave 150 days, it would not be a penalty, but if it's sooner than 120 days prior to the end. Less than 120 days. Then there would be a provision in there. We don't want him to. See, I don't know, he wrote this part, so I want to give it. So yeah, in other words, if he terminates it, he gives us 40 days notice, and we have to have somebody else go in there and do that. Like, so this, I think this is back probably when you legal have it. There would be a liquidated damages amount for time that he did not provide service. I don't think it will materially impact anything.
All right. Okay, so my question, I guess a question is, we approve this contract, which is on we are also approving another part of our budget, which is to pay him the $610,000 subsidy. So just to make sure that you're all aware of that. Am I correct? If we sign this document, then we've also fixed a line item on our budget. Is that right, Kevin?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there is, it does say in there, if we don't have the funds, we can negotiate or something.
Yeah, for cash basis purposes, what is it, 5 year, I think, is what he was wanting, but cash basis, you're able to terminate. If you don't have budget authority for that. So you can terminate the end of each calendar year, if sufficient funds are available for funding operations.
Okay.
So, and then the other thing. I haven't seen any 3-month reports. No, this is just new in this one. I mean, you're supposed to give an updated list of the drivers in attendance. And a 3-month report of what they do, it says in there somewhere. And Article 8, probably.
Every 3 months or upon request.
Okay. Well. Every 3 months or upon request means it should be there every 3 months, or if we request it, that means soon, could have it more often.
So is this part of it here, this exhibit A? Or is that just?
Yeah, so it's. So that's what he's charging though, but that doesn't necessarily. And then on exhibit A, what does BLS miles and ALS miles mean?
Advanced life support, basic life support,
And what's A?
advanced, we have
Advanced.
to have a specialized.
So,
Breathing. On board. I might have the terminology wrong.
so miles, does that mean that they can charge up to $15 per mile that they go out on those calls? I'm not sure what all that means. But not to exceed 550, well, like on the 2024 fees, not to exceed $550. Is that what they charge to go out?
Yeah, I think he's asking you, Rich, do you know?
Oh, I'm sure that these are representative of just transports.
If I was looking at this, I would say if it's basic life support, you're gonna get paid $15 a mile, or he'll get charged $15 a mile plus a basic fee of $550.
Okay.
So there's the service call fee plus the mileage.
Sorry, I didn't know he was speaking.
It's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. Well, you answered the first question, so you'd hoped you'd answer the second.
So then it looks like it should be sufficient for the calls, but then that doesn't cover it all the time you're sitting there waiting for it doesn't happen. Like paying for people to be on call
He's got people that are on call that are
all the time.
on call for a whole weekend or,
Right,
you know,
so. But
they're not sitting in a barn on call, but they are,
within 5 minutes.
they can't, you know, they gotta be within many minutes.
In
of-
5 minutes, I think that you said,
Right.
within 5 minutes.
So I guess I would like to see some monthly report, 3-month reports and stuff like that.
So this is the part of the ambulance service that is the unknown, because we, as a private contractor, we don't get to see business documents. We just provide a substitute. We, as the county, by signing this contract, agree to provide him $610,000
Right,
to do with what Town and Country Ambulance pleases.
so I guess the concern I hear from people is how much is part of his actual expenses are we paying too much or not enough or? And I think if you give us a few more reports along, that might help some.
Okay. Okay. And to my understanding, the current contract expired. Is that right? Into this month. Yeah, so I mean, essentially. We
Okay, so we need to go ahead.
need to move ahead. So it is, that's a common question I have too. I'm not sure how we get that information. I don't know what we had to get that information. It's, this is just the county agreeing to subsidize, it, you know, and it's really not based on the.
But we can't ask for a report every 3 months. According to Article 8,
Report of ambulance calls.
right?
An update regarding the operation of ambulance service. That's fairly nebulous, I guess. Do you want to add something in there to get more detailed financial information?
No, I just like to see how many calls they do, and
You want to see?
because if they do a high number of calls, then that ought to about pay some of their charges. Anyway, I'm not gonna, I would agree to.
Are you two comfortable at this time proceeding on the ambulance contract?
Plan.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve the 20? Let me see. Is there a motion just to approve the contract for the ambulance subsidy as presented? Right here.
I'll make that motion.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Aye. The motion carried. All right.
So, with August 28th, that's the expiration date for the old one. So you're gonna, it's fine, there's none after the other this one.
Make it effective today's date.
Or you just,
Contract with, that's if it's fired 28th of August.
Expires, so I would have it effective for when it, after the day after it expires, so, yeah.
That sounds good. So it'll take effect August 29th. Okay. Now, do I fill in? I just sign? Okay. We all sign.
Yep.
Alright.
See. She said she.
Make it.
Yeah. Okay. Have you on at 9:30. We got about 4 minutes here, so we'll. Guys want to roll on to the Sheets Land Survey? Got enough time to do that?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure you have enough time?
Right.
Well, we'll start on it.
We can talk then.
So here's it came up to be an acre and, I thought it was an acre and 2/3 larger. When we did this originally, it was about 5 acres is what I thought. So it's 1.66 acres more. It brings the dollar figure up to $24,975. You have a comment?
I thought we were talking about from 5 to 5.5 acres or something. So my question was, why did we have to go, why is it longer? He was kind of concerned about the price. But now maybe the price isn't a big deal. So if we just move the line back 45 feet from what they surveyed it, that would take an acre off. I don't know. You want to sell another acre at that price, or I thought we gave them a pretty good deal, so. And then the other question is, can we put in there that they need to maintain the fences if necessary? If they desire to have fences on it, can they? Cause I'm not sure we want to maintain the fences on it. I never thought of that before when I was talking to him about it.
Well, I asked that. But he indicated there wouldn't be any need for a fence, but I think putting it in the contract would be advised. It would be good. Say that again.
When we go to do the resolution.
Probably in the contract for.
Well, not necessarily, we have a public notice that we have to do, that I've sent Nikki a draft of that, depending on what she decided to do today. With that legal description, and so, it would be in that, public notice, I think, the terms of the sale, so. Right now, it just says it's sold as is, he agrees, satisfied, and it's suitable for intended purposes, no express or implied warranties, and we're conveying title by quitclaim deed. So if you're wanting to add anything to that, I think we need to put that in additions of proposed sale. But there won't be a real estate contract or closing or anything like that. It's strictly a legal description by quitclaim deed to him.
Do we need to do that in the form of a motion or, I mean, are
I
you?
think I just need to know, if there's going to be a different survey, I think you need to communicate that to Sheets, because then this person's gonna need to redo that survey, because right now it's pretty exact. I mean, it's got
Yeah.
degrees and 0.81 feet, things like that. So I mean, we're gonna have to have, if that's going to change, we're gonna have to communicate that to him. We need to have that survey before we could do the public notice. And then if you're wanting to have any stipulations, we'll have to have that and they get notice of sale as well.
So my thought was if you wanted to go back to 5.5 acres or about that 5.6 acres or whatever, if you just move that 290 feet, he says 290 feet on the north and 290 feet on the south. If you reduce that to 245 feet, that would take an acre off. Approximately.
Did the math. Okay, so,
That would be. There's 43,560 square feet in an acre.
sure.
And it's approximately 1,000 feet.
All right, let's put that on hold. It's 9:30.
Okay.
So remember where we were. All right, now on the agenda is community corrections and Vicky. And Chris. Yeah.
For years. For reports. But was gonna happen.
Uh-huh.
We had our JCAT meeting on Friday and our JCAT board did approve everything. And so we're considered for signatures with you guys and stuff. Okay, but
Always have questions.
sure.
Okay, here's one easy one. Whose signature is that?
It's for the. It's the our board.
Okay,
Does it not say that or there? They did this as a.
well, it may, but I never could find it. That,
It's forever.
It's involved.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I saw it several times and
Yeah.
that would make sense though.
So you guys want, I don't know. Be easier to talk to you if you moved up here?
Sure.
Do you want?
I'll move better. Good.
Okay.
He wants to get you a little closer to the action. So as a board here, we're hard of hearing, so.
It's hard to hear back here. as well.
Yeah. Okay, so you answered my question. Bill, you said you had some?
Yeah, there's this one document. This one, what's this $1,500 or something, where's that? What is that for in orange?
This is our investment grant. It's what it is, it's behavioral health voucher funds. And there was only 5 or 6 things that we could use the money for.
Okay.
And we use this for our host homes,
Is it for what?
for our host homes.
So on our juvenile side, we get involved in a case in which involves removal of percent baby. And we have those moments to take that child in. And tell them those cases or whatever we feel first in some ways. Time and effort. Money.
Okay, so I didn't see where that was subtracted from anywhere or if it was spent or.
It's because now we're down to 47.3. I think that was just for the year. I mean, that was for the quarter, the 1,500. We've got 2,700, the whole total.
Okay,
So 50 minus 27, I think is the 47.3.
right. So you didn't spend all your 2,700, is that what you're saying?
You spent the 2,700, we didn't spend the 50,000.
But what the 1,500 out there is. All right, didn't see.
Oh, well, that would be for the quarter, because this is a quarterly report as well as a
Okay.
year-end report.
All
So
right,
the 15 is for the quarter, The 27 is for Erie.
Okay. And then, going back up to the ones before that. The. The juvenile part, when I thought the numbers added up everything, but then you get down to the adult ones. I didn't see where the $412,000. I mean, you had grants, you start out with a balance of $220,000, then you got grants equal to $400,000. And then your cash balance at the end was only $107,000, but you only spent $112,000 or something.
It all auto populates from KDOC. We plug in our numbers. We can't deviate from the numbers that we plug in. So that's the way that it all just worked out. So the 412 was the last deposit, I'm guessing. The 220 is the ending balance from Q3. And then we had, so the first two equal to 412. And then we had expenses of 112. And so, I can't answer that. It auto-populates. We can't deviate from that. Those cells are blocked from KDOC. We plug in the numbers off the GL that we get from Mickey. And that's what, it just auto-populates.
But you see what I'm trying to say? It doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, I get what you're trying to say. And basically what she's answering is, I don't know if we can answer it because of of how the program is, but it doesn't break it down for us in ways as well. But I get what you're saying is.
Looks like it-
Doesn't necessarily match.
There's more expenditures than.
So it would be the 220. So 220 was the end of Q3. And then the expenditures are 112. So that's how you get 107.
But where's the 412?
Well, see, the 412 was from the first, adult grant is paid twice a year. So it's
Right.
paid in June and then it's paid in January. So that would have already been added in.
But. Still don't quite see it, but
Well, I see where the 107 comes from based on that. That's the
Right.
Q3 balance of 220 minus 112.
it is one cell.
That's 107.
But then the 412, the grant payment. Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't know if it's because again, we're paid, our first payment is in July. So we would have already gotten the payment for this year, but our first payment was in July and then the second payment was in January.
All right, I understood the juvenile part, all those numbers seem to add up right,
Okay,
but then it didn't seem like this $400,000 was added anywhere.
yeah, no, that's a great question. I don't have that.
Nope.
Just auto populates off those cells and all those cells are blocked. And so we can't even, collect them or anything. So we just get the numbers from the GL and plug them in. The next one, the budget adjustment. Our copier died, and so we had to buy a new copier, and so we had to move money around for that, just so that wasn't. We had plenty of money, and just so we had to move it in a different account. And the outcome is just the total signature approval of the whole thing that we just presented, so. Did you have any more questions?
I know I have questions. I'm just not. So explain to me, and you were here earlier in the year, January, I think. And explain to me the relationship between what you do and what we do. Are we just to check the box and then you go on, basically?
Very accurate, for the most part.
Okay,
We are under the umbrella of some Kansas Department of Corrections. It's the 4 counties, Marshall County, Brown County, and Dauphin County. And previously, when I started this back in 95, Ryder County, sorry. The county in charge of us, so they did the functions that you guys did. I don't know when it was, but well, it's been over 20 years. I think it's 20, something like that, that's changed. But Brown County decided to take us in, for lack of a better term. And so I'm sure it was right around 20 years, but I think. Brown County before. And basically you're on checks and balances. KDOC provides our funding and budget, we have to follow all their guidelines. Brown County oversees us, for lack of a better term, on checks and balances, so that we report back to KDOC that we have someone that does do our checks and balances as well. It's tough for me to explain.
Oh, so really, I mean.
Yeah.
Her signatures, you're signing a lot of these documents, you're doing a financial checks and balances. That's what's happening. I didn't mean to point at you, I'm sorry. But like Bill's questionnaire was 412,000. You guys, it auto populates, you really, the form that number's there and he asks a question and, no, it's just.
So, yeah, so if we're overseeing it, what,
Well, it's the bottom number, the total, has to match those.
Yeah,
And that's what she's signing off on.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
that number, the balance matches the GO.
okay, and, okay,
But this used to be provided by Riley County, and back in the old days, Chris actually, I think, worked for Riley County back in the day, so. Riley County Community Corrections Service, all counties up here, and I think the thought was we weren't getting. The services that we thought we should, because obviously their priority would likely be Riley County, so Steve Davies, and I. Went to the various county commissions, this is probably late 90s.
Yes, so I've been with this 31 years, so I work for Riley County, right? Okay. So
About late 90s, I think we went, and I think the county commissioners in all counties were unanimous that thought we should have it under control, and at that time, Brown was the largest population of the 4 counties, and I think that's why we ended up.
so tell me the 4 counties again.
you got Donovan, Brown, Needham, Washington.
Okay.
That's our judicial district.
she has on our shirt there.
I'm sorry.
Zero.
There you go.
So when Riley County was in charge of it, were they just did they shrink a district down to where so many counties in a district, or?
No, it's always been this district.
It's been this district, with it just they contracted with them.
To oversee
to
it?
Provide the services.
Okay.
They thought it too much for them at the time, but I think commissioners thought we'll have more control. And I think it worked out much
I
better,
agree.
and services have been much better since we did, not knocking Riley, but they're worried about Riley, and they're worried about our districts here.
It was awkward,
Yeah,
going through Riley. You know, if I ever had to go there, but they hit their life.
So one of the questions I've had, trying to get an answer to, is Brown County, Kevin just told us this, he examined his caseload and compared it to other counties, mostly in our district. It is, since you're headquartered in Brown County, is that the reason we have so much more caseload? Is that a fair question to ask?
it's fair, they they react to what's filed, and then I react to what's brought to me, so. It's more of that'd be a good question for the line item folks, because you guys only handle what's filed.
We give what's given to us.
Yeah,
That's,
so,
what's assigned to us.
There's a lot, I mean, we talked, there's a lot of socioeconomic factors, there's a lot of factors that play in the cases.
It's pretty consistent over the time frame. Marshall County's, I think, always been second. Brown County's always been first, and Lufkin.
Would Marshall County be first if you were located there?
I am the Marshall County.
You are.
So I have an office in Marysville and an office in Sutton.
That's the question I was trying to,
Yeah.
just, that
Good
you're
question.
there, okay.
Yeah, Marshall County is second, and usually somewhat a close second of populace for our cases. Nemaha County and Donovan County. Nemaha was usually a little higher than Donovan. A lot of that just has to do with, like Kevin said, populace, socioeconomic, there's a lot of various factors. But it's been very consistent over 22 years as well.
So do you deal with every crime from juvenile to adult?
So the adult side deals with only felonies.
Okay.
And we deal with the more serious non-felonies. The juvenile side can deal with it. They can deal with any type of things.
Then you guys also do intake, so every juvenile come in contact with law enforcement has to have a the juvenile intake and assessment by statute. That's a pretty detailed. Basically interview questionnaire that comes up with some recommendations. That's required by statute. So you guys have people on call. So on those, because all have to give. At 2 a.m, we'll have to have somebody go out there, right, do an assessment on somebody, and then they'll make recommendations on placement, things like that.
which just happens to be.
Yeah, that's happened very, put in a lot of effort, so.
So do you partner with other organizations then as far as placing children? Or is that all?
They make recommendations, and then the placement decision is made by law enforcement. They call it police protective custody, so law enforcement will make a placement. But they play a large role in coming up with options, and then law enforcement placement ends. And then the court we have to have an emergency hearing, and then the court will decide whether to place them in state or ECF. That's it.
There you go. So you partner with. See,
So you say law enforcement makes recommendations or whatever?
The police protective custody, they'll place it,
So,
the child's being abused and there's not a option. Then say grandma is there, grandma's or a relative or a close family member, they will go through. Intake, and then they will kind of vet who those people are, replacement, and law enforcement will make that placement. So they try to keep it with family or familiar people, so the child's not further traumatized by where they're going.
Or we could have scenarios in which youth are placed in detention, or youth are placed in. Juvenile facility, and we deal with this with his, keep communication and contact with them. And the juvenile side is still more complicated.
You have to be, have to do background checks, and you just can't place a juvenile with.
Right.
You have to do background checks.
when you talk about law enforcement, you talking about the sheriff's department or are you talking about?
All around, so yeah, depends on where the child commits the offense, so. If it's in the city, then Portland, Hiawatha, and if it's out in the city, then sheriff's
Okay.
office. And then we also, we will try to police them too.
okay, so again, we check the box. And so on the salary schedule, Nikki told us there was a little bit of there was a small, so they made that adjustment, but. And we don't have anything to do with this.
No.
This is all, yeah,
That's set up by LJ.
okay.
Just sign.
So we really have no influence over you whatsoever. You're just coming here to tell us what's going on and we sign it and drive. Is that how it works?
I can see.
I don't like to think of it that way, I never have, to break it down. To a point, yeah, I don't like to.
I'm trying to understand why Brown County, and we got just a little, why Brown County seems to have so much crime, so much welfare, so much. It's just like we're a magnet for folks, and I'm trying to make that magnet a little less positive. And I don't know how to do it. And I'm just, that's why I'm asking you questions, just trying to figure it out. What draws that type of person to Brown County, and what can we do to make Brown County less attractive?
I would say it's not as much people moving here, it's just people aren't here. We're dealing with generational. I'm dealing with grandkids of grandparents that I was involved with when I started in '83. So it's more of I'd say a lot of them are people that have resided here and it's been a generational.
I don't get a ton of newbies. I don't get a ton of first time offenders. If we have an active case of 50, that's what I don't know, 35 to 50 felons at one time. Say we have 40 of those are repeat offenders, 25 to 30 of those are repeat people that go to prison. These aren't as a whole oftentimes new people. Marshall County is land. We have 1,000 employees in land. And so they come to Marshall County for manufacturing or something like that. You have considerable of that in Brown County as well, where people are moving in trying to, we have smaller towns around. But as a whole, it's people that are armed people. It's not moving in and committing crimes as much as as Kevin said, I've dealt with the grandparents and then the kids and now grandkids. I've dealt with that people that actually have an erection. And it's frustrating. You feel like they've developed for 4 or 5 years. Here we go again.
So one person question.
Yeah.
If the child has problems from the parents or whatever, why do you give them back to the grandparents that caused them?
I can promise you, we do nothing.
Okay,
It's a frustration for all of us sitting here that, you know, the grandparents at times have, struggled with their own kids. And then those kids have kids that struggle and you give those back. to them.
And you're not placing, I guess what Bill's asking, I know, is that we're not placing kids with grandparents in the prison who've been prosecuted. These are cases, say the child, has two parents who are struggling with drug abuse, and the grandparents have never struggled with it, the grandparents are at their wits end on their kids. Well, in that case, grandma and grandpa will be a safe placement for law enforcement to look at, because, and like Vicky said, they're doing the backgrounds, and if they have drug history, and we're not placing it in. People with
I guess the person was concerned if the grandparents' kids didn't turn out right, why do you think the grandparents can make the grandchildren turn out right? I mean, I don't know. And so then, like Lucas was asking, is there anything that can be done that would change the way that people act in the county?
I think that's a great question. I think if somebody had the answer to that, we would not have jobs, which would be a great thing.
Yeah.
But I think if somebody could tell you how to relieve crime, they would be, that would be the way to do it, but I mean, obviously that's not the way it is.
It seems systemic. If you talk about generational issues, then the system is not working. I mean, it's not, if we're going from, you know, whatever, baby to parent to grandparent, and you all know their names, something's not clicking. And I'm not pointing the finger at anyone, but it is frustrating. We see this, and you know, Brown County is a nice place to live and raise a family. I mean, I think, but we've got a lot of, you know, you said socioeconomic issues, and they're real, and there's a there is still a magnet to this county, and I'm gonna find out what it is sometime. There's something that's drawing these people like moths to the bug zapper, you know, and why doesn't this happen in Union County? Some of it's employment opportunity, some of it's not, but you know, I just heard it too many times, and even you can get on Google and find out the best place to go to get government benefits is Brown County. We're on a list someplace, and that's not your department, but I just,
Yeah.
you know, I want to figure this out. I want to figure it out and make it go away.
We're all, you know, I know Marysville's got a program called Pep Seat right there. I couldn't even tell you what that acronym stands for. You know, it has brought it, it's done some wonderful things, but its purpose is to bring new citizens to Marysville. And it provides, housing benefits for a 12-month period of time. It's positives and negatives.
Sure.
Greatly. And the housing, what they're getting is has to be approved, and it has to be this, that, but it's landlord housing. And not all of that is actual housing. And so you say it's systemic, it's 100% systemic. I grew up in Wymore, Nebraska, okay? So
Been there.
Wymore is 20 miles from Marysville. When I was there, 85, it maxed out at 2,800 people. That's 1,500 people. The railroad left, the manufacturing jobs that, you know, left, and now Wymore has some of the highest crime in the state of Nebraska. And you know, that's just what happens when you. Blue Springs, the town that's connected to Wymore by a bridge, is Blue Springs is now torn down. They have a reclamation project going on with it. Tore down 45 houses. Out of that, 25 of those houses were being lived in various ways. That town its crime level is going down astronomical.
There you go. All right. That's practical.
It's one of the things that's, yeah, and Wymore is now moving into that. They created a community group that's looking at there. There's funding provided, what have you like that.
Okay.
That's one thing that's been a positive.
I'm glad you said that. I like that. That's very practical. Then county, we can actually do something about that. We can help. So, okay. Bill?
So my question is, when I was growing up, crime was somebody got in trouble, that was a big deal,
Sure.
but not so much anymore. So your school systems have changed and what they teach in the schools. So is that, I mean, we used to honor, I mean, our country says we got trust in God, but do the education systems teach that? Or do they teach it something different than that? And can that be a problem?
I was on school board there in Marysville for 9 years. It's a frustrating process, but I got a lot of respect for teachers. My brother's taught 30 years. So I don't know.
I mean,
That's a very vague question, a very difficult question to answer.
that's,
I've only got 6 minutes to do it.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm doing it.
Bill's asked this question before.
I mean, and I respect teachers. I actually went and got a certificate. But the main thing I remember out of that was we can't teach about God. But if our country, if we trust in God, why can't we talk about God?
Right.
I mean, and how can we change that?
I don't know.
Yeah, go to the legislature, go to get it.
Or is that's the courts that decided that?
I don't know.
I mean,
That's not an issue that comes to our district for us. I mean, like they're saying, we have to address what's brought to us, and what's brought to us is what's brought to us. I mean, we're not in a position to be in the front lines of program development, things like that. I mean, that's a whole nother animal. So
but as citizens, we should be
yeah,
concerned
sure,
about
as
it.
citizens, you guys can go to the right people and do that, but I mean, we're just dealing with what's brought.
And it's frustrating to me when the Sabetha superintendent sat there. Well, this is what I read in the paper. I don't know if it's true or not, but he said the state test said you had to teach this. So that's what they had to teach. And the parents, if they didn't agree with it, they had to teach something else. Well, if the parents don't agree with it, why are they sending their kids to school? But other reason, why is the taxpayers paying for school? But the parents don't really agree with what they're being taught.
We're just asking.
Anyway.
Big picture question.
You can't, I mean,
We can influence, you know, sentencing guidelines, things like that. You know, the things that are presented to your office. You can go low, you can go high, you know, we can do some things
You
there.
know, lower high, but the
Well, in the range.
legislature can, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all, and
Sure.
legislature can tell you. From the Department of Correction, can tell you if you tweak this level or this level, this is gonna result in so many more people going to prison, and then people complain about their taxes and, not having new prisons and all of that. So it's a science, the sentencing guidelines, they can tell you what any modifications will result in. As far as numbers, money and all of that, but yeah, I mean, we're frustrated because, well, Chris may not be as old as I am, but when I started. Every felony could potentially result in a prison sentence, and the courts had a lot of discretion. And a lot of people would go and then they come back and, right now they know the guidelines. So they know it's property crime, that's gonna be they're gonna have chance of probation. And now we used to be able to send in prison on one violation, now you have graduated sanctions that the legislature set passed. So, I mean, courts are easy targets, but courts base it on the laws that give it to them. So.
You're the, yeah.
Because where these.
I missed 108 sanctions, 112 sanctions.
Yeah.
I missed the Lafayette Correctional Constable. Used to in Oswego, Kansas, so Lafayette County, we had what's called Lafayette Correctional Conservation Camp. It's a military lead camp. We could send people there for a simple time frame. 180 days, if they did well, they could get out 150%. It's a fantastic program. But it was shut down. It was shut down. I miss that a lot. Oh, that's a good program. Good program for a while. Yeah, we had a lot of success at that program. Still, I think out there to succeed at that program.
Well, as a community corrections and we're the commission, we're kind of working together. I mean, is there issues that you could send us that we could send higher? That maybe they wouldn't listen to you, but they might listen to the commissioners? I mean, if there's something we need to advocate for with our county,
Right.
Kansas Association of Counties, you know, that big group there, maybe we can get that, and they have some lobbying power. Oftentimes we have ideas, but we don't know how to, you know, I don't know the nuts and bolts and mechanics of it. What you just said there, you know, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We've talked about that a lot.
Okay, well,
Right.
I really appreciate your time here. I mean, really, and
Appreciate
often
the
we come at you from a totally different angle than you expected, but good natured. But what we have in front of us is the fiscal year 25 community correction year and outcome report. And we need to make a motion to approve that. So I would move that we approve this thing as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 I still have questions about that $400,000. And I agree with what I mean, I approve of what you brought for us, but I'd like to go back, have you go back to the state and ask them about that. But,
I mean, I absolutely can.
I mean, I'll,
Do you want to vote for it or vote against it?
I'll vote for it.
Okay, so we've got three, nothing. We're gonna accept it.
Yep.
If you could, if you had time, if you could get
mean,
into that thought. Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, I don't know, maybe you don't see it as a problem, but to me, it looks like he's got money there it's not accounted for.
It's just, it's the deposits. So, yeah. we can-
Is it, well, but then it should, looks like it ought to be reflected in the balance or something somewhere.
Can I, if I sign this today's date, the date that you signed?
It's not here, 57.
Vicky, do I sign this the date you signed it? or
No,
the
today's date would be great. Thank you.
Okay. I do appreciate you answering the question. Sir.
Because your 220 minus your 127 equals 107 or something.
Yes.
Look,
Uh-huh.
all right.
It's just this. So this minus this is the 107.
Yeah.
Just for you. You take
That's
that.
for me. Thank you.
Make sure I did it right. Signed 3 different places.
Yes, okay, you had 3. You're
All right, thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah,
Really.
and I'll see if I can find out. what
Thank
that
you.
is.
Yeah, come back, come back.
Will do.
Thank you guys so much.
Good to see you.
Thank you for listening to us.
All right, it's 10 o'clock. Next on our list is the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. Hi, come on up. So Andy Inman,
That'd be me.
that's you, all right? I'm Lucas Heinen. This is Bill Collins, Richard Lynn Cool.
The Barrett,
Hi,
section 2 for solid waste.
right. Heather. So you're the section chief, is that what you said?
Yes, solid waste permit.
Okay. And you know Dawn? Do we know each other, at least on the phone, maybe?
I haven't met Dawn yet. I'll talk to Nikki a lot, but
Dawn Pence, he's in charge of our
Okay.
transfer station out there.
very good. Right on.
All right. So where do we start?
Biggest thing, I just wanted to come up and answer any questions you guys might have.
Well, we have questions, and Dawn, if you want to come up here with us so we can. He's more in tune with what really is going on here.
Sure.
Of course, he runs the place, so.
Absolutely.
Do you have questions for him you'd like?
It's just with that, form where if the landfill shuts down, how's it gonna get paid for? So that's the whole thing. You know, I was hoping to be able to do it with county personnel because I can see where that process would be applicable for a corporation or something in case they go out of business. The county's not gonna go out of business. The state's gonna go out of business just as likely as the county. So why do they have to do that and how are they going to do it?
So, we require everyone to have some form of that readily paid. A lot of the private corporations will go into a bond or a letter of credit or something to that regard. So that way they're not setting, I don't remember what numbers you guys were at. As far as closure, post closure.
It's 200 and some thousand.
Okay, so instead of taking 200 some thousand and just setting it there, a lot of people will go into a letter of credit or surety bond. So they can say, okay, if you call me and say you're closing down, here's your letter of credit, we're done. And so that has been one of the bigger options that people have started to look at in this ad going on.
Counties are doing that?
Counties and city, local
In city
government.
and private, even private industry?
Private industry, well, actually, it's one of only 4 options that private industry has been.
So our number, if I read it right, total current closure costs $235,000. That's what we're talking about.
Right.
Okay.
The
Okay.
requirement actually isn't new to, it's always been written into the regulations, the way that we're asking for it to be explained.
That is the new part. The way the regs are written is semi-elusive. It alludes to the money being readily available at any time. But nowhere in there does it actually fully say fully funded. So it's kind of a play on words, you see what I'm saying? Like it's gotta be ready.
We
available.
didn't, no, that's why you're here.
Right. True, so it's gotta be available, but we didn't say anything about funding. So. That's why letters of credit have been. Letters, credit bonds, things of that nature have been what people are looking into, so that way they're not.
You're saying that we have the ability to borrow the money, then we're okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, everyone's looking, I mean, do we all have ideas? I mean, is it,
Well,
is this?
we can establish a letter of credit, and we have zero debt to the county for the most part right now, so we're in a very
Did we
good.
just do that? Well, yeah, it's,
But-
Kevin, what do you think about this? Are you listening?
Talk to, yeah, I've listened, I mean, I've talked to bond counsel to see what might be available, as far as letter of credit, I think we used to have a calendar. In the past, it's been a long time, so we don't think we have any bond. In this building at present time, so that's something we could explore with bond counsel to see what's, available.
So that would cost over, that'd be.
Oh, yeah,
expensive.
yeah, I mean, they usually pay themselves a percentage of what the bond issuance is, or,
As of late, it's about 10%.
yeah.
That'd be yearly. That'd be
Yes.
yearly for the bond?
So in 10 years, we might as well have paid it.
And that's the thing, yes, it would be yearly, and that's the thing, I mean. Do you wanna put the money down now, or do you pay it over 10 years, sort of thing? That's kind of how it evens out.
It's the only time I've ever had a letter of credit or dealt with them. Say you're going to an auction for, you want to buy a farm, and they need a letter of
Proof.
credit that you're a responsible bidder.
Correct.
Does something like a letter of credit, does that come with a fee also, or is that? It,
The bigger the dollar amount, yes.
it would,
Uh-huh.
all right. All right,
Now, our local banks are involved in that, because with municipal lending, that's a little different, so I mean, somebody could reach out to them as well, see,
see what that is.
see what might be available.
What do you think?
Well, like you guys are saying, in 10 years, it's gonna pay for itself. So we're just throwing that money in. I know that's under 50,000 a year.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I would look at maybe if you put that money aside and earn interest on it to help offset that cost. That way you're not paying that 10% plus you're earning the interest.
Right.
So if you're looking at 10% interest plus 4% earnings on that, you're gaining 14% on that money that's set aside.
Right.
And that's a pretty good earnings.
CDs are not out of the question. CDs are an available option too, and that way you would be able to lock it in for a certain amount of time and gain interest. But that, I'm not 100% sure how that fits into municipal law. As far as being able to put the money in the CD. I don't know how that runs through that part of local government financing. But it is an option from where I'm sitting to look into.
Okay, is the closure cost reevaluated on a yearly basis?
It depends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We review the cost estimate every year. Yeah,
And so this number would change to reflect that. Every year we would have to
Inflation and
yeah.
inflation, and that's what you're, okay.
It increases, one of the options to reduce the amount of financial assurance that you give it responsible. You're using ad valorem, you can lower the amount that you're responsible for if you close units. And so if right now, your cost estimate 235,000. Is based on the amount of work you would need to perform at the end of the landfill's life. And so if you start to close some of those self-supply, dirt cover, grass, it would be considered a closed unit and wouldn't be responsible for it. Yeah.
Okay. So if it was closed, we'd have less,
Sure.
exposure,
That-
but we're not planning on
But
closing. So,
it is, the cells are closed as they're filled. We have no open cells that are not being used.
Oh, okay, you're already,
So we're already doing that.
yeah,
And BG Consultants, we use them, and they come and do it every year. And they get their numbers from you guys and plug into that. That's a form I sent you from BG.
Mhm.
So
the unit cost,
Yeah.
Posted numbers, our posted numbers are getting ready to change, we're going to start using VDOT's. Unit costs, which I anticipate will be a bit higher than you've had in the past, that was factoring in inflation. So you could see an increase for that next year too. Of course, PG could use their own day if you got one and be higher than that. There's roughly the cost estimate I'm looking at shows an area of 5.5 acres open.
Yeah.
And so that's.
Yeah, that's reasonable, yeah.
Okay,
But some of these costs in here are out, to me, kind of outrageous. Like seeding and mulching,
yes, okay.
$2,800 an acre?
Generally, they go, that one in particular is way too high on our current unit cost.
It's been climbing for some reason, and
Yeah, the unit costs we currently have available that we've used for the past 10 years or so. We collected that data roughly, 10 years ago, and we've just been adding inflation to it. It was based on submitted documents to us. And so, yeah, it is way too high.
Fertilizer costs at $500, almost $500 an acre. I mean, you buy a whole ton of fertilizer for that.
Right.
Almost, I think. I haven't bought fertilizer lately, but used to be able to buy a whole.
Cost prohibitive, I would think.
ADOT has much lower numbers.
I mean, and like Don said, the county can move the dirt. Why do we have to hire somebody else to move it?
That you have to include is, the assumption is the state would be coming in and doing the work to perform closure. So it's not, we're imagining a situation where Brown County
Disappeared?
bankrupt or disappears. Yeah, and then otherwise the state would have to come in and hire people to perform the closure work. Do the closure work. So you're not able to say, oh, my staff can do it for a cheaper rate. It has to be an established cost.
That don't make sense. I mean, I can see if it was a private thing.
Yeah. So it makes.
And I understand what you're getting, we talked about that, you sent that to us in the email. We did talk that over, and it was one thing I didn't realize, but it's. Basically, it's for a standard across the board. And that is exactly why this conversation has come up, is a standard across the board of making financial assurance the same for everybody, private and anything like that, is we're trying to get down one road.
It also the regulations specify the types of unit costs that you can use, either published by us. Bid data from third parties or. Bidding tables.
So if we went out and got a bid for covering it up and doing that, would you take that number instead of these numbers here?
Yes,
But who would bid if they weren't really planning on closing it?
well, they would charge to do it. We could find somebody to do it, but you're kind of wasting that money too.
Right.
Everything costs. All right.
So if we have room in our general fund, it says in your worksheet, add row room worksheet, provide evidence of currently unused taxing authority within any statutory tax limit gap. So right now in our budget, we tried to allow for about $750,000 of unencumbered cash. So does that mean, could we, if our budget goes through the way we proposed it and we pass it, we've got that, does that mean now we'd only have $500,000 worth of unencumbered cash? Because we'd have to create an account for this landfill closure, and that money's essentially item. That's what is there, I mean, that's right. So is there any, so since this is old, I see 2014 on these documents, but now things have changed where we actually need to fund it. Can we stair step our way into funding it, or do we have to go all the way this year?
That is not something we're opposed to. So this is a beginning process for the entire city. You
Okay.
guys are the first one that has requested us to come up.
Oh my.
So I imagine we'll be taking several road trips over the next year. But you guys are the first ones to invite us up. So we are not opposed to a counter plan that you guys might have. We just need to talk. I don't see why a step up plan to get there would be an issue. As long as we, you know, obviously we just gotta put it all on paper and we all sign and agree and we move forward that way. That's not out of the realm of possible.
Alright.
So,
Yeah, we have, listed, we have been talking with other counties, so pardon me, I
Okay.
can't remember which have decided to go which direction, but, okay. So is this? Is that?
no, that was city board. Okay. But it was an option that we presented to, well, I think is that there could be a payment plan if that, and that was, we didn't put it directly in, we just picked the top three in that letter that we sent. I don't know.
Sure.
We actually sent you guys that particular letter. We may not have, because I think we just got into the conversation and then you guys asked first.
That's what I'm.
Okay, yeah, that's the letter.
Yeah, feel free to go up and down. See what you see.
Yeah, that's the letter. We just didn't put it in there, mainly because we're trying, you know, simplest avenue.
Essentially.
But if that is a proposal you guys are willing to counter with, I'm willing to. As long as the number, you know, we're not dragging it out for
So
10 years.
the second item in there,
Mhm.
it says that we have the authority to do it, so we can provide evidence that we could do it, provided the landfill closed. Is that a way around it? Am I reading that right?
Close, where you would be able to tax yourself into that dollar amount every year is what number two, the second option is. So as long as you can prove that at this tax rate, I will always have $250,000 unencumbered,
Okay,
we can use this tax rate. But if it's not, then obviously we're gonna have.
okay, that's.
What are you looking at?
Oh,
Each one of these?
it's number 2 on the Dropbox. Number 2. So we can use general fund money to build up this fund over a certain period of time. How many years would you allow us to do this?
Personally, I'd like to stay at 3 years.
3 years. Okay, and this is a moving target. Every year we assume this cost will go up a little,
Right.
least inflation.
I generally run off 3.5 inflation if I'm guessing for.
Okay.
Generally by the end of January, I'm able to publish the memo that says what inflation is for the year based off some tables that I don't understand.
Okay.
But if I'm guessing, generally 3.5 is a safe guess, and generally puts them over what inflation is, so on.
So we're going to take and put away 100,000 for the next 3 years. And then after that, we'd have to put in a little additional amount. And then can we earn interest on that money?
I don't have a way to pay.
But yeah, but the central bank, that should take care of the inflation part of it.
You'd hope.
The CD, I think you mentioned the CD, the way the KR reads, that's only for facilities with closure cost estimate of 25,000 or less.
Oh,
Yeah, so I don't know if that's gonna be.
yeah, you're right. Sorry, I forgot that part. I apologize.
So then we'd have to allocate this money or set it aside. We couldn't draw any.
So another option for you guys is a local government financial test. So, and that would be, it would kind of combine all three options in that one. As to where you guys are setting aside your $750 for solid waste, right? So 700,000 set aside for solid waste in your budget this year.
That was for our whole county. That was our
Oh,
unencumbered cash.
Okay, I got you. So, but what a financial test would do is take all your numbers, you know, that audit that we get at the end of the year.
Okay,
You know, that you guys send off your CPAs and they run through it and then they send it back to you. We take that with a financial test, and I don't have the documents on me, but I can send it to you. And it just do some ratios and stuff like that back and forth. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And it does some ratios on there, and as long as all the ratios pass, you're done. So you could potentially not even need to get a letter of credit or a CD, or not CD, obviously, sure to go on something like that. as long as your financial test numbers pass. So that would be my suggestion is let's run that road first. See if your numbers pass out of your audit. If they pass, we're done, we move on.
And we do this yearly to determine?
No, if you transfer over to a financial test because your number's good, we'll just keep going. Until I see something in the numbers that, hey, that's raising a flag for me, I need you guys to take a look at this, either give me corrected numbers. Or
That would just be yes, Sydney, or last audit to you all, to run
Basically.
the numbers, so yeah, I mean, I think that,
essentially,
that's stuff I.
That's a good place to start.
Start.
there's some ratios that come with it. I'll send you guys the email with all the numbers, but that's the easiest, that would be the easiest place to start, and as long as your numbers match. And you guys have enough commerce and everything up here, but I'm not worried about the number. Some of the smaller counties, I'm worried about it, and I don't think some of them that we're getting the right track of numbers, and so it's confusing when it comes to a financial test, because it sounds like the same thing. You're still messing with the budget, you're still pulling money out of it, well, not officially. It will be unencumbered money that you count into your budget will play a part in passing ratios. So you guys say more or less normal operation as far as the way you handle the budget, everything like that. And you just send me that little document when you get it. And I understand, I mean, I'm still waiting on 2023 for some of the county to go. So I understand it takes a while. I don't like it, but not much I can do about that. So we submit that every year and that's it.
We submit it electronically?
You can submit it electronically.
Hey, the 230,000, is that going to be encumbered then? For like next year?
Out of the financial test,
In a sense, but not
correct.
a line item. I mean, I think what you're looking at is if historically, if we have unencumbered funds in that amount, I'm guessing that's how it's gonna work. So you're not line items assessing that in a sense it is encumbered because historically we had that amount, but it's not on a line item. That, yes, sir.
Exactly.
And so let's say that each one of you was doing this, we had 2 landfills, okay? We had this done and 230,000 was encumbered, but it doesn't show, and you come and do it, do we have to report to him that it's earmarked for him to that $230,000?
We work, I'm the final step in her process.
Yeah, if you guys are separate though. I'm
Oh, I
talking
see.
another business came in and was asking for the same thing. Do we have to report that 230,000 has been encumbered by you?
Or can they use it if there's another state organization that requires
Same
financial
thing.
test,
Oh,
then
Are we obligated to tell them that
Yeah.
you are earmarking this?
I mean, it would probably be the best bet to say, hey, we've already got this set aside to unencumbered via financial test. That's what we use for our financial insurance. And, even as a private entity, I mean, somebody get upset about that if. So I think,
To me, it's either encumbered or it's not,
right,
and we need to call it encumbered if it is.
and technically, yes, it will be. Running off the hypothetical, you close down tomorrow, I come and ask for money. That's the hypothetical that we tend to, the general scenario that we'll run.
But it's not encumbered until that happens. Cause I see, this is gonna make a huge difference
No,
in
you're
the
right.
money you have available.
You're absolutely right, and I get what you're saying, and that's where we start going down funny roads of names and plain words and all those things. I would say the smart thing to do would be to make sure you report that this much is already encumbered for the closure. If that was the case, if somebody else was to come in.
Let's go on our line item.
We're working
for our
budget every year.
It generally works easiest that way. I know, Gove County runs it that way. They have a special, just a line item that says closure. And they just throw the money on there and it's not over with. And that makes the ad valorem stuff just that much easier, but I understand in this case where we're trying to start. Cause they've been on ad valorem for a while, so it never, it wasn't a giant shock. sort of thing.
That's the work the brand just, if we don't, if it's not brand by a whole time.
So.
It's
We're
not.
not brand a foreign tax out there.
We're-
We're using.
Oh.
fees.
Gotcha.
At the landfill.
Yes. We're just strictly user fees out there, so no taxes towards it.
That doesn't affect it. I'm not sure.
No, not really. I mean, if your taxing rate is good enough where you're at, where you guys are at to cover everything. Not necessarily reason to roll over.
Yeah, because your user fees won't pay for closure, it's county funds that will pay for closure, so I think under that, financial test, and just see if historically you've had that, so I think that would be the way to go right now, to would require us to issue a bond or anything like that, that way it passes that test, I think that satisfies it.
How long is it? What's the timeline for the test?
Yeah, that's even, I can go sit in the back. You
What?
give me your financial test and I can go sit in the
Just
back
what
and
he
take care of it.
You know.
John?
So if, I mean, I can take care of it for you now,
Yeah,
You want
that's
us to-
a public
if you
road.
want a couple days, I mean. Or we can
Well,
wait
we need to-
electronically, I
We
mean,
need directions.
sure, absolutely. That's fine.
I keep hearing multiple different options, but it sounds like we just have to accumulate the money. I mean, one way or the other, because like you said, it's either, it may be in our budget, but we can't use it. So we just need to, create an account, be a separate line item, land it, bill closure. We can fund it over 3 years, try to build it to where it needs to be if need be.
Well, but that's the thing with the financial test. You pass the ratios on the financial test, you don't even have to. Technically set it
Well,
aside.
let's hope we pass the ratio. I mean, we're not holding up, right? So, yeah.
You don't have any debt, so that's a real big check mark right there.
Yes, if that will change a lot, is being damn near buzz, I just went blank on them.
It's all right.
With debt,
That free?
yeah,
We don't have a lot of bonds, so.
yeah, sorry, my brain just ran away on me.
Well, I get it right now.
Could you, since we own the land, rest of the land by the landfill, could you tie this in and use that as security or something, just in case?
But there again, you're getting a fee for doing that, so
No, you're,
it may be worth it, but
you're fine. You're fine.
But to me, it looks like eventually. The user fees, if they set aside a little bit every year. But not in 3 years, probably can't do it, but in 10
Well-
years, maybe.
and in my opinion. I shouldn't have to pay for something that happens after the landfill is closed and done.
As a
Because
user,
that's,
as a user, you mean?
no, as the operator of it, is the department. I don't feel I should have to pay for something that happens after the landfill is closed.
Well, I just want to say that you will be responsible for the post-closure care of this state.
Yeah,
For
the county,
County,
Right,
yeah,
yeah,
right.
but it's important to consider that there'll be maintenance that will need to be done long term. For a senior, so.
Also, if it's just,
Acting and taking care of erosion.
so all we got C and D out there, right? So that shouldn't be as quite as, not as. I mean, all these other tests that you have in there shouldn't apply to that, right? Like they do when you do employing, like at Perry. That would be a different thing. Completely, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, also Perry has, post-closure financial assurance as well, that this landfill is not responsible to do, so every year they have, a fee or a calculation expense they make for this is what it's gonna cost to maintain the landfill in 1 year, and then they multiply it by 30 years, it's a large number.
Right, I'm sure it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is large enough, but I can imagine what theirs is.
Period. That's where we're in, right? So we make it a little bit of Brown County every day.
Yeah. There is some financial assurance for the transfer station closure as well, but.
It was around $5,000.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very small.
Heard of that rest of it, yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna do a financial test, and you can do it quickly. Ish. Okay,
I'll be done
We'll
for
have
lunch.
it.
okay.
Maybe we could agree by the next few days.
I mean, I'm fine with that too. Nikki, you say you're gonna send this to me electronically. Okay. So we'll do that. We'll get out of here so you guys can finish business.
I mean, that's not a problem. I mean, we're probably here till,
Well, we've got 10:30.
yeah, but we come back after that and it'll take a half hour probably, right?
Give or take, but I mean.
I mean, it's up to you if you wanna go.
I think we're on a good road as far, I think we're,
Make it, send it to him, let him do it, so he says.
You send it
Do it, and look at it.
Yeah.
it'll give me a chance to look at numbers.
You'll give us a no go on that. Or you go no, and then, and if that doesn't work, then we're back to the payment plan. I think, or I mean, one fell swoop too, if we had to, but we
Yeah.
can do the payment plan. Mr. Hill says we can't set that money aside and actually earn any.
Yeah,
interest on it.
I, KR says, CDs, that.
Well, gotcha.
25,000.
That was just CDs.
Yeah, that's just CDs.
But we is there a way to?
There's other options, but I mean, if this financial test sounds like the.
It'd be the best.
Start, yeah, so
It'd be the
I'd go
best.
that, and then we can talk to Sean about, some other options with municipal financing. If we have to get bond counsel, I don't know that we could have.
Okay. And that's the thing.
So if we don't pass that financial test, would you give us an idea of what we can do to change to pass it?
Yeah.
You know, maybe something that's real simple and just change a little bit and then. you know,
And I've only ever had a handful of counties, one local government entities have not passed. And the only reason they didn't pass is just because their taxing just isn't bringing enough in to cover what I needed to. Sounds like you guys are already there, you're setting that much money aside as unencumbered to use throughout the year.
Well, that's for next year.
Sure.
This year we're running pretty lean.
And then, well, and so his permit will be 25, 26. So we won't revisit this issue until this time next year.
Okay.
So it'll carry just fine. Yeah, I'm not worried about
Okay.
it. Then it's for 26 in the budget or using 24 topic. Like I said, I've had very few places
Okay.
do not pass the test.
Okay. Well,
And if they do, if they don't pass, it's generally because of their opinion given by the CPA. And that's just a simple. We already talked about it, we know what's going on. That we'll let that be a variance thing. So. Yes.
And do we have to do this every year?
Mhm.
We do. Okay.
So, but it'll be a much easier process. Most CPAs will send you stuff directly. You guys don't have. But yeah, it'll just be every year. Once you close out your yearly budget, you send it in, they do their thing, and once they publish a report. If they don't send it directly to me, Nikki will have copies of it all. She can shoot it straight over and we're done from.
And then you guys are gonna look into some of these costs that seem outrageous.
She's already been doing, yeah,
Okay.
she's been working on the study, next year.
Cause those,
oh, sure. It's 10:30.
those go on into
Thank you.
the other costs at the end
I
too.
don't have it either, so
Call her, she can get.
right on. Appreciate you coming in. Really cleared it up.
Absolutely.
That's great. We were looking at things on the screen and had no idea. This is one.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll be in touch.
Are we good? I mean, yeah, Dawn, thanks for coming in too. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be in touch. We'll be in touch. Thank you
Sounds
very
good.
much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, it's 10:32. Come on up. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm 2 minutes late. I got caught up in the transfer station. We got just a mess here on this desk too. Give me a place to work.
Morning.
All right.
Okay, so when I was here a couple of months ago, we were talking about renewing the neighborhood revitalization plan. You all had asked to come back with some recommendations on what we could do to potentially entice the plan that we already have that is expiring at the end of 2025. And so before I get into talking about the options that are presented here, I just want to kind of give you guys a little background on where I came from when we were looking at this. So there was a survey that, the county solicited a couple years back, and it was essentially asking for public, feedback on what they saw as issues or challenges for the county and what they wanted to see as a focus at the county level. 5 of those top 8 items that the public deemed as important or as the most important were economic development initiatives. And so that's exactly what the Brown County Neighborhood Revitalization Plan does, is entice improvements, new builds for homes as well as businesses. So retaining, getting new business, essentially all of that to say, this is a really important tool that would achieve focusing on those important items. So that's where I came from when we were looking at this. You all asked to look at ways to entice it, make it better than it already is. And so that is what you'll see here. So at the top, you'll see the current plan, which I think everyone is familiar with. It expires at the end of this year. It is a 5-year tax rebate at 75% each year. So I illustrated some options down here below, recommended options for another 10-year plan starting 2026 through 2036. 5-year rebate is honestly really antiquated. Where communities and counties are going now is anywhere from a 7 to 10-year plan. And so you'll see those options below. 10-year rebate, option 1, is the most straightforward, the most common, I think, that you'll see in rural communities such as ours, or rural counties such as ours. Those that are more populated will be more aggressive, some of them even leaning towards 100% for all 10 years. But typically in more rural counties, they want to start seeing that increase in property tax coming into them a little sooner. And so you'll see the gradual decline there. After year 5 is typically when they start to drop off significantly. So I illustrated a couple of options. One I mentioned is the most common. The second year is more aggressive. So if you wanted to be more aggressive and focus more on making it the most enticing plan of those around, option 2 would be the way to do that. If you wanted to see more revenue coming in sooner for the county, then you may look at option 1. So really all on that's up to you all to kind of find that balance between enticing new builds or improvements to the county so that the tax base can increase versus when do you want to start to see that revenue, that additional revenue coming in at the county. Below that, you'll see some 7-year options, which is another common option. You'll see the first one again, more of a graduated, starting at 95% for the first 3 years. That's a commonality between all of them. Typically, they are really heavy. The first 3 years are really high at 95% rebate because that's typically the most difficult years for anyone, particularly businesses starting a new project to really find the funds to be able to operate and pay for those improvements the first few years. Second option of the 7-year rebate is definitely more aggressive with 95% for the first 5 years and then dropping to 50% for year 6 and for year 7. So I think any of those options are improvements for what we have. All of them are more enticing than the 5-year rebate we already have. It really is just an option or something to consider from you all is how soon do you want to start seeing that additional revenue coming in from those improvements or from that new construction that is made, whether you're looking at 10 or 7. The most common is the first one, is the 10-year rebate that starts at 95 for the first 3 and then goes down 10% starting in year 4 through year 10. When we talked last time, we did talk about some counties have community neighborhood revitalization plans, and then the county also has one. So there was some discussion. Do we think that's advantageous? I think in our situation, because there's already an existing county plan in place that could be tweaked, I think we would suffice with a county plan. It would be different if only Hiawatha had a plan and we were eliminating, there was no county plan that could encompass the other areas. But since we already have a county plan that we're working out of, I think it would be sufficient just to work on or enticing the county's plan. Would still give us coverage countywide instead of asking each community to do their own and then having a county one to take the place of the areas outside of that. Would also be much simpler as far as administration and personnel to manage the plan. So those are my recommendations, our recommendations on ways to improve it. Do you guys have any comments, questions?
No, it's wonderful.
On any of the plans?
So Mr. Markham came down here a couple weeks ago and said that we're in sort of a statutory gray area, having the whole county as blighted. And we may need to make some adjustments based to what is available, or to what the neighborhood revitalization program, where that money will apply. You know,
Okay.
specifically like parts of the city of Hiawatha, or maybe even in the rural area, however you want to do that. We need to quantify and designate areas that this would work and this does not. Do you know anything about that?
You can, some communities, yes, do. Typically, I've seen it in the larger communities designated as like certain areas between this street and this street,
Yeah.
if they're designated as blighted. Some of them, those will be more enticing, like usually it's 95% because there's a 5% cost to administer the program. But a lot of times those will be straight 95%, and any other areas outside of that may mirror something like this, which I showed you as options here. So if that's something that needs to be looked at, then
Well, the original plan
Do
did
that.
exist, because I, when this first came up was, gosh, mid-90s, early 90s, and that was our interpretation, is that you could not designate your entire county. So we requested a formal opinion and received one that agreed that you couldn't designate the entire county. And so for that reason, there were some properties that were exempt from that area. So we had exhibits added to the original plan that exempted some areas of Hiawatha, some areas down by Portland. So that changed. I was not made aware of.
Time's going.
So there should have been some, so that would have been against my advice if they had exempted the entire county.
They wanted to ask the taxing union, they want to participate in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there should be, it was in part one, I mean, the last, I don't have the latest one, but the last one I have from 2011 just said, legal description of the real estate forming the boundaries the area includes, and it lists Brown County, and then it says accepting those properties attached as exhibit C, D, E, E. And so there were properties, you know, like by the country club and some of the nicer areas, in Hiawatha, that did not qualify for it, but they took those out, and yeah, that, I would agree. Probably need to have areas in the plan that are,
I don't think that changed, did it, in the renewal 10 years ago?
I don't think they have, so the last one passed, but it would have been in part 2, section 1A, where that was, and that's past muster with the Attorney General, as they've approved our interlocal agreements. And I think, and is that something, that will assist in going to the various, if they require one, let's see. Section is part 2, section 1A. Where it goes legal description of real estate, at least in one of that, something that part, it's pretty early on. It's like 84. Okay.
Do we all have access to that?
Yeah, I think that number was it.
It's our work session then.
I mean, we could potentially know, Nikki, you were working on getting some sort of outline on what the process would be to renew it. Have you gotten any more
Yeah.
on that?
So.
I think RDA.
There we go.
I think that what did require some updates on the plan portion that discusses the, just updating the socioeconomic factors that are listed in there.
Because I know even though it's Brown County's plan, there have always been, it hasn't been 100% of Brown County. There were always areas pointed out within the plan. Specified on which areas were covered.
I don't think all taxing authorities sign off.
Right, I think you're right.
So is that different than some of the taxing authorities that just affected their taxes, right? I mean, if the fire department or whatever didn't sign on to it, that would just affect their taxes, right?
Correct.
What is, what they would have got.
It's in there, that it last, I'm not sure what he was talking about. It's in there, it's always been in there.
Okay.
Less than accepting those and exhibit C to give the public. I don't have, it just has the actual plan, it doesn't have those attached, but. So the one I think Nikki has doesn't have that. It attached exhibits, but those attached exhibits in the past always had the, areas that the county designated as not being blighted. Meeting the definitions, so. Most need to find those exhibits, but it does mention that, section 1A, it says less than accepting the properties. Exhibit C, so possible commission time and assign it to the tax service if doing it, so I don't know. But as long as you have areas that simply don't pass, so it'll pass muster. This expires even.
Yes.
Yeah, little time, but I think you'll have to update, somebody will have to agree to update the findings in part 1 that are needed, so I'm not sure if RDA did that last time, or if somebody will need to
Yeah.
update those figures using the like population decline, and the health rankings, things like that, but those will be property valuation, average age, all that type of stuff. Somebody can get that part, the rest can be pretty straightforward based on prior ones, and policy decision will be whether or not you know what the rebate period is gonna look like, and then if you want to add any more taking the properties off of the except list for areas.
So I think, what we were waiting on was really a decision at the county level to renew, and if so, at what plan, and then once we knew that was gonna happen, we could start working on the
It
application.
would make sense to do all that work if there's.
Yeah.
We're done, so I think they just need guidance from the commission on whether it's something you want to continue, and if so, what that might look at, understanding your final vote will come when the plan is submitted.
Right.
Guess I'll start in here. Does the city of Hiawatha or the city of Horton, do they have an NRP plan
No.
themselves? They don't?
No.
You said that, I'm sorry, I didn't hear. So I looked at Nemaha County
Mhm.
and the city of Seneca and Sabata themselves do 100% for 10 years.
They do,
Am I reading that right? I mean, that's the actual city
for commercial,
for commercial, yes.
yes.
And the county is just, well,
Would be everywhere outside of that.
Yeah, like
participates in
rural.
this.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there any benefit? How do we partner with the cities to make this thing more attractive?
I mean, I think that depends on what you mean more attractive. Is there a reason you think Hiawatha or Horton would need one different than the other areas within Brown County? To me, I think our communities within Brown County, when you're comparing the communities, all probably have very similar, in a rural area such as this, everybody's probably facing a housing issue and retaining their businesses and getting new businesses. And so I don't see a lot of difference in the needs of the communities where you would need a specified one that would be different for every community.
You don't see anything to target commercial development in Hiawatha and Horton specifically?
I don't see why you would need to necessarily go to ask each of them to make a separate one. You could do a separate county one for commercial and then a separate one for residential, or not necessarily separate, but you could distinguish between the two. I mean, you would need to have the support of every city on their own to essentially create their own neighborhood revitalization plan.
Sure.
So
And why wouldn't it?
you'd have to ask them that question,
Well,
right? What I'm saying is, it's not safe to assume that everybody would opt in and say yes to that. That would be a conversation you would need to have with the appropriate people from the
Right.
city. I can't speak for them for you.
well, the county, I mean, as I understand this program, it makes perfect sense. That's a way we can stimulate economic development by not spending any money. We're just not going to collect money on any improvements that somebody made. So it's a win-win. We
Correct.
don't spend money, in the hopes that it generates economic development. What we do is if economic development is generated by private industry or private people, then we just say, hey, we're not going to take our share of what you've just done there.
Right.
So it's a win. It'd be great if Hiawatha and Horton, people like maybe they're not aware of it, would do it themselves. Also, and it could make it better because the county's just, one chunk. I think we're 25% or so. If you live in Hiawatha, Hiawatha probably takes 25% city tax. Ish. I look at you because you live here.
Feels like that.
Yeah, I mean, initially I always thought NRP was kind of but actually I think it's good government because it encourages people. It stimulates development, economic development, and people make the choice because whatever they do is not taxed at market rate.
Correct.
Sounds good to me. I like the idea actually of targeting Horton and Hiawatha as the two biggest cities that we have. Specifically to try and get, development here.
So are you saying because this would apply to them as well, so are you saying you would want theirs to be more aggressive than?
So I'm farming, I'm out in the rural area, farmers. A lot of the guys I talk to, gals, they don't even know NRP exists. If they're gonna build a building, a bin, a house, whatever, they're not checking for NRP. Because it's just a little different environment out there and we'll take it, if you can get it, and I always do.
Mm.
But, I'm thinking of the people right down here that maybe they would be more incentivized and more. Maybe they would be encouraged to actually make an investment if they knew the county would give them a breather, I guess. And the 10-year thing, I have no problem with that. I keep it simple.
Well, I think if you renew it and you renew it, regardless, renewing it and especially renewing it improved and more enticing would be a perfect opportunity to market it more, to increase the awareness for it so that it can be utilized more.
Is Hiawatha missing out and Horton missing out on business or development? Because just across the county line, that city and that county both have an NRP program to encourage commercial investment or residential investment. Are we missing out because our neighbors got a more enticing program?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Well, we should. I see more industry in Brown County than I do in Emhoff County. It's better.
Correct.
Yeah, well, I think a big part of that is likely because we have the neighborhood revitalization plan before they did. And so some of the businesses that built on the Brown County side did so because we had it and Emhoff. So Emhoff fixed that and now they have.
And now they have,
So
and they've.
I'm thinking what you're interested now is if there's like a consensus from the board that they want to continue this and if they do, you'd like an idea of whether they want like option 1 or 2 on the 10-year or option 1 or 2 on the 7-year. Is that enough to get you guys to where you can proceed and start helping get some of that?
Yeah, there just needs to be a starting point on something to start the application with. We need some sort of.
Sure. So if there's just a consensus that the board is interested in continuing with the NRP and that as you sit here now, you'd like 10-year option 1 or 2, or 7-year option 1 or 2, that might be enough for Epic to get. Moving on their end.
Or it can be, I mean, it doesn't have to be these numbers either. It can be whatever
Yeah, sure.
numbers you guys want. These are just examples to show you of some pretty common ones that are in place. To be able to decide what you want to do. And it also doesn't need to be decided at this table if you guys need to discuss it again, and you can let me know, then we can do that too.
I was just excited about what Nemaha, not excited, but I saw what they did. And I like the differentiation between the residential and the commercial side. I mean, I'd like to stimulate commercial development, because if you can get commercial development, you know, I know you gotta have both of them to make it work, but the commerce drives the residential. And I think there ought to be a differentiation there. But I'm no expert. I just see that they had a city plan and a county plan, and I'd like to work together, I guess, and come up with something that attracts people and draws people to spend money, because they don't have to give so much back to the county and the city taxes.
Would you look at, if that would happen, how do you envision the counties looking compared to, say, if Hiawatha and Worth would go in and do it?
If you're just asking opinions, I think the county should do at least as much as the city. That's my thinking. But that's me. You know, here there's a difference. Looks like the counties. If I understand this right, Nemaha County, they're just, the county-wide is 65% for 5 years. And then they lump it onto the city to go over and above that. I don't know why, if you're just talking about improvements and the additional tax revenue that you never were gonna get anyway, if they didn't build it. I mean, it's not like it's costing us
Right.
anything, unless we have to build it to the, you know, streets and roads. I mean, there's always
Sure.
other costs, but that's my opinion. I don't know why the city should get hung with more than the county.
Right.
I would keep it about the same. Which I think would be fairly aggressive.
What you're saying, we got a county plan. We want to incorporate the city, then we have to come up with city plans to go along.
Correct.
When I look at this, you know, your options here, you had one that said, okay, commercial, residential. And there'd be a split there to be more attractive for the commercial to come in. Residential would be less than, you know, to where we want to attract business.
I think also though, I see what you're saying, yes, and it is an option to do it that way, and you could still just have one county plan, because most of your commercial is going to be within the cities of Hiawatha. Or.
Yes.
But also, we need to keep in mind, housing is a very big problem here, and so we want to be careful that we want to make that enticing too. You know, we've been trying to solve that bear for a very long time. And so this is a good way to do that too. So, yes, we need businesses, but you know, it's the same argument we've been having for years. If there's nowhere for them to live, doesn't matter, you know, necessarily as much. What the incentives are at commercial, if there's nowhere for employees to live or people to come move here to start new businesses. So, I mean, I think it's important to keep that in mind too.
Your turn.
I don't know. Why are we trying to? If your tax levels are low enough, that should be in the city to come here too. If your total tax is 10% less or whatever than the next county, in the long run, they're gonna be ahead to come here without any incentives. I'm kind of concerned about if you give a 90% tax rate, what's gonna happen after 10 years? Are they gonna go across the county line and start over again? Depends on how much infrastructure they built. I don't know. And then how do you make sure everybody benefits from it and not just the people that are figure out to apply for it? I don't know.
If people are looking at it, we can decide if we're gonna move forward with this, so you can start putting numbers to it, we don't have to choose a plan, but.
Yeah,
That's it.
you have time. Maybe
Yeah.
talk about all
Yeah,
this.
no, that's fair.
Yeah.
Do we need to make a motion or just?
You can have consensus if each one speaks up, if the consensus with at least two of you is that you're in favor of continuing this on. And maybe give them an idea of, if you need that, if you need to know kind of which, option, like. You know, I don't think you need percentages today, but if you would like to know if it's gonna be 7 or 10 years, that might help, with what they need to do to get started on it.
Yeah, I'd like to move forward with it. I think the most competitive thing, if we're going by what our neighbor, I didn't see anything for Don from Canyon.
FEMA is the only one that has separate ones for
Okay.
communities
So what-
around here,
what kind of-
including Marshall Atchison and everywhere near here.
What kind of stuff they kind of have? What kind of plan do they have?
Starts at 90, 10 years and goes down. I think first 3 years are 90 and then goes down 10%. Pretty similar, almost identical to the 10-year rebate plan.
So that's,
They're countywide.
that's commercial and housing and everything.
It's just, yeah, everything together. 90% for the first years and then goes down 10% every year after that for 10 years.
Wonder what the appraiser would think about that graduated schedule. I suppose it's just put it in the Excel spreadsheet. What I'm saying is the record keeping side of that gets a little messy, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm for it. I like a 10-year option of some sort. I can't put my finger on what would be the best. That's where I'm at.
That's what I was thinking in 10 years. That's one that you hear the most.
It's, yeah, becoming the most common for sure. Places.
You know, one of the, why it seemed like you hear that a lot. Not for sure, but
Yeah, and especially around here, I mean, the 7 to 10 is common around here, but if your goal is to be competitive with other counties, I mean, you want it to look better than other counties, and so if you're only doing a 7 when you have 10 neighboring,
We want to be better.
I mean, that's.
I can see
Yeah.
where some of the projects we have bid on to try to get. If we would have this, it made a big difference in us landing a project too,
Mhm.
with what we
Yes,
worked through in your, being at your meetings and
Yes.
stuff.
yes,
Could have made a difference of what industry level.
I'd still like to see a separation between residential and commercial, some sort, with commercial being more attractive. But that's just me. And that sounds like something we can do at a later date. So all you needed to
Yes.
know today was that you
Yes.
want to proceed. Okay.
yes.
Okay. Oh, and that's because we asked you to, and you generously offered some help and
Yes.
information. So no, this is wonderful. And again, if we can build an economic development system based on tax money that we don't collect versus tax money we have to pay out. It's not, doesn't sound like a bad plan to me, because we'll get it eventually,
Right,
eventually.
yeah,
I mean, it's gotta-
eventually, yeah,
gotta wait.
the idea is you'll be
But
better off.
But to Bill's point, I mean, somebody could theoretically start a business, milk the NRP until it's done and walk away, but the odds.
They could, but that's not a very
It'd be pretty. simple.
good business model to leave your current client base. and move
So why
forward.
is that? Sports teams in Kansas City debating whether to go.
Well, that's.
Measure
true.
Yeah.
Kansas City.
So we're not.
Yeah,
we're
it's a
not-
little bit different that they're working with there.
They're-
We're
Well,
not writing
back-
checks. We're not writing checks. We're just putting people. not
Yes.
writing us.
Okay,
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, you're not losing anything and ultimately you're gaining.
but yeah,
Yeah,
so by the consensus here, moving forward, we've done what we need to do at this time. To,
I think so.
okay,
I cannot.
okay, all right.
thank you.
So in the past, I think we just had the one and then the other entity signed off.
yes,
The biggest one, look at 1.
I think if you did that for plan, you could do that in one plan, and just, yeah, just have a designation of what you do for commercial, and then, because right now you have all eligible property, it would just need to be fine tuned in the plan that commercial, and we'd have to have a definition of commercial. I mean, it's, you know, a farmer building something, is that gonna be commercials, is it business related, is that, I mean, there's a lot of things that are gonna have to be decided if you separate those out. Yeah, obviously easiest is to do it the way you've been doing it, and that's have just all real property qualified that meets the threshold that. I don't know, I'm not speaking for Heather, I'm just saying, I think she just needed some direction, so to know you're wanting to continue on. in some fashion, I think what you're gonna want today.
Yes, just a starting point to know that like we can start spending.
So I think at work sessions, you can further discuss whether you wanna separate that out. and
Alright.
Get some feedback from, Evan on that issue, because, I mean, she makes a fair point on residential does bring in a lot of tax revenue, and so if we separate those out, are we going to, impact that at all?
Okay. Well, I think, I mean, as far as we're concerned, then Nikki too, I mean, this at least lets us know with confidence we can move forward and starting to move down the renewal process.
Sure.
Okay. Anything else? All right,
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. The last thing we discussed before we went to KDHE was the land survey. Bill, you were speaking. Do you remember where you were?
Kind of, do we want to sign the whole 6.6 acres or do you want to put it back to 5.6?
And we had that, we wanted to put something there about fencing, about not having any responsibility to face it.
If you're wanting to have it modified, I think we just need to let Ian know that, it's gonna have to modify the, survey that's been done.
Yeah,
And then if you're wanting to add some fencing requirements, so then that's something you need to let him know, and then we just need to modify this once you hear back from him, so.
sure. Okay. Okay, so if I look at the map that he gave us when he presented, that was on the 7th of July. He used a
Yeah, so
program to make his little box. His box must have estimated it at 5 acres, give or take. So when the surveyor came out, he came up, well, no, he had it at approximately 6 to 6.5.
okay.
For some reason, I was thinking 5 acres too. Whenever we got, oh, right here,
In general, was using the number 5.
we got our 5 acres off the county's.
Oh, okay.
The county. So Ian's number actually is fairly close. He said 6 to 6.5, and we come up with 6.66. He wanted his line to be just east of the tree road. And I think, I mean, I would assume that those surveys kind of match.
Yeah, it shows that the survey.
The east line.
The timbers coming off.
Yeah.
It should be this strong.
Yeah, I think it's just about that. So. If we move it, according to this, if we move it to the west, we're gonna move it in the trees, and right now
Alright.
he's got it on the edge of the tree.
Okay.
So I don't think it, in my mind, it doesn't really change what we did either way. It does bring into the money things. You know, it ends up being a lot more money, but I guess he didn't seem to
Balk at that.
balk at that.
So decided it was, we got a good enough deal.
Well, we're not shrewd enough at negotiating. To me, it doesn't change my opinion. I think I'd like to see something in there about the fencing. And Kevin, did you have any other ideas in that contract about things, pitfalls we should look out for?
Now, I think, what's in that, I don't know if you guys have a draft of, what was worked up for the, first language.
And my assumption, he's done the surveying, he ran the calculator, Ian didn't indicate that financially it was more than he wanted to do, did he? I mean, to your knowledge, you haven't heard anything, I haven't heard anything either. so.
I was not gonna get a survey.
Okay, yeah, he would know, I mean, he did the math, so.
Yeah, the notice of sale then that you guys have would have what, the conditions of the sale, so we just need to know the amount. I think he had mentioned, and then if you're wanting something added to part 2 on fencing, I just need to know what you're wanting in that regard.
Essentially, the purchaser would be responsible for any and all fencing and maintenance there. However, you would write that up.
Okay.
I didn't want any exposure to the county for having to put some sort of
or
Or
be
maintain it.
responsible to fix anything.
I mean,
There's nothing, no existing fix now.
There's nothing. there.
No, there's nothing there.
so, well, I need to know what you mean by that, though. I mean, right now, I mean, on fence viewing, you, as you face property, you're responsible for the right path, so. We wanting him to be responsible for what's traditionally his half and what, you know, how long, where, what kind of fencing, so I can kind of need more than just, be responsible for fencing. They'll come back and ask what we need by that.
Well, that's a good lawyer way of writing that down. We don't want to have any obligation. I don't want to have any obligation to erect a fence or to maintain someone else's fence. I think. That's what I'm at. If we're agreeable to sell this chunk of land, I just want to sell it, have an established boundary with survey markers at the corner. And with no obligation to any sort of.
But with there not being fencing now, what are you wanting to require? Because I know when you have fence viewing, you know, like. Whatever, you have distance between, how much part and all that type of stuff. What, I just kind of need some direction on. Do you want him to put up a fence for the entire boundary with Brown County?
No, I'm not asking that either. I'm not mandate, I don't want to mandate. Excuse me, I just don't, if he wants a fence, I don't want to have.
Okay, so if we have Sheets will be responsible for any fencing between the properties and the maintenance thereof.
So that's perfect.
Okay,
There you go. And will that, should he ever sell, would that be binding on the next owner also?
Or right to purchase them. Yes, they about it.
we're not unless you write it until you sell or get a quick point.
Okay.
So, Mac can put in their Sheets and. Successors of interest. But whether it's going to be enforceable, 30 years as a.
That's fine, 30 years, I'm on that here, so. We just want to clearly identify, boundary. You know, with markers at the corner, wouldn't that be right? They'll put up a survey marker. He'll have a pin there, let's suppose.
Or maybe. Two of the core, you can find the other two, I mean, in the timber.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to mark them.
Maybe it's just where we do it, we go out and drive a post, you know, where that post is.
Well, yeah. That's what they do most of the time, put up a survey marker.
On each corner. That's what you're wanting, your sheet will place survey markers, so it'll be a property line on each corner.
That'd be fine, yeah. There'll be 3 posts. 3 posts. That sound right to you, Bill?
2, 3, yeah.
2, 3. Yep.
What was the amount?
The dollar figure,
Yeah.
24,975. Is what the document.
So, yeah, so that, you check his numbers. Yeah, 6.66 acres or something, was that what you come up with?
6.66, yep. Change it to. You want, he's doing, Rich has got it, confirm, 24,975.
Okay.
Right. So does that take care of that, or do we need to make,
You'll need,
make a motion to,
someone send this to Nikki.
Okay.
Maybe right. Make a motion to approve it revised, notice of sale, and I think we set the potential hearing date that August sometime to get enough notice. That they could. Yeah. August 18th.
We have covered a lot of ground today, haven't we?
Yeah.
Done pretty
So,
well.
so what we got here is a public notice. We're gonna change the name.
You're
of it.
approving the public notice, that has the conditions of sale, the amount that you all want, that's what you're just approving today, and then the sale, would be approved, at the hearing. And that allows for any public comment, so you're not approving the sale today, you're approving the notice of sale.
Okay.
And that has to be published, I think, twice.
And that's as amended.
Yes, after twice, so should be in your email now.
Okay, okay.
And then Nick has, I do it. I can print it off, I guess, from my office. Yeah, I have the print thing. Sure. Thanks, Donnie.
We are all getting much more improved at finding our documents in our computers too. Nikki, you've done very good at that with your organization. I think you really have. Now, I lost that neighborhood revitalization thing, but as soon as you told me where it was, I found it.
Need an index or something, go ahead.
Well, we're just getting so much now. It's hard to,
Remember it.
life will get simpler when we do the budget thing and that folder's behind us.
I'd say you ought to change usually we say Richard Limcool. So Rich,
Oh.
I think
You want to be William?
that's what we're on everything else. Keep it the same.
Oh, there it is. You don't miss a thing, you know that? You're right, you're Richard L. and you're William. Okay. I'm still this.
Not a big deal, but
Is there anything else while we're waiting on it to come through? You guys have anything else? I'm not here next week. Remember that I'm on my little trips.
so there was a question, I don't know if this needs to be an executive session or not. About spraying weeds at the county. County area, is that your department just spraying noxious weeds or do they spray all of these that county requested?
You spraying weeds at the county barn?
Yeah.
I don't know, do we have any policy?
So, spraying it, but. At county barns. Yeah, right, like you spray areas around our barn.
I mean, I think that was where it used to be, but I was shown an email or something that says they just spray noxious weeds and they don't spray it. Okay.
This is the publication, so I did a electronic signature, so you. That's why you have the S, you guys can sign over that if that's going to be acceptable, or we can. Have a signature on it. And will you check that? Signature. I did. Okay, it's all. But I just copy. Usually they provide that in Word format. We provided it in PDF, so sometimes PDF does not translate degrees very well.
Okay.
And so I was like, I want to make sure that the actual deed will be.
Kevin Bill caught up. His name is there is Bill Pollock and Rich is his, Richard is his.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so we'll fix it at a later time. All right. So are you gentlemen good with proceeding on this or you want more discussion?
I'm good.
Okay. I'm
Where,
good.
where does it say about the fence?
Vince is paragraph on there. Sheet said his successors in interest will be responsible for any fencing between subject property and maintenance thereof. Yep. Okay, then there's, are you good? Is there a motion to go ahead with approving the public notice of sale?
Moved.
Is there a second?
Good.
Yeah,
No.
you didn't second it?
No,
Okay, it's been moved. I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
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 all right.
Okay, motion carried. All right. Now, am I-
Right.
am I signing or is this just,
I'll bring you one with. the
Okay.
Signature page.
okay, thank you. Thank you.
So you guys can look at it.
Now, this is wonderful. Kevin, I'm glad you're here today. You had a lot of activity.
Yeah.
You really did. So, you mentioned something, let me mention something first on this. Help me out here on the Stanfield roofing. We made a motion to do the one inspection a year. Okay, so I initialed there and on the second page. It lists, I assume this is the same thing. That's the rooftop maintenance agreement. That's what we agreed to. So I can put the dollar figure in here that's listed on the front page and then sign it and we should be in good shape. Okay. 80202. So. Okay, is there any other business to come before the commission?
When it gets back, I'm not having. Run through this off on 45 miles an hour.
Okay.
Waiting on him.
Oops.
Yeah.
All right.
But 45 miles an hour.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've got 11:30, Cheltenham here, so on the, Nikki had asked me about the 45 mile an hour, and you do have, and I'll pull up the email, or you do have discretion on setting speed limits on county highways and even, I think, townships as well, if we're not, and road unit. I think there is a provision in the statute that talks about notice, and so, I was a little confused. Are you wanting, was there some discussion about setting the, all county roads at 45 miles per hour or designating ones? Because there is a notice provision, and so if you're wanting to name every one in the county, are you aware of any other counties that have done that? Because I'd be interested in seeing how they did the signage or notice to advise people, because I mean, locals, you could say, well, locals are charged with notice as citizens, but if you're from out of county, we'll have to have some notice, since it's going to be different than what the state speed limits are for those type of roads. So, you know, the statute speaks in terms of notice, so,
But notice is not defined.
but it says adequate notice.
Adequate notice,
Yeah.
okay. Maybe you'll stop. My intention with that, I believe that Sheriff Merchant, this is his words. Every road, unless otherwise posted, would be 45 miles an hour.
Okay, so smart. I can visit with him on which counties he's spoken to, like have designated every road. Because there is, the statute speaks in terms of having appropriate signs, giving notice of the speed limit, if different than the state statute, so. I don't know as far as the courts are concerned, if they're going to be okay with, just that the county had a resolution that they passed, designating all of them. So if you have a driver from, you know, Tennessee driving through, you know, the notice.
We would need some sign.
We do run into that on like highway, repair, where that was a defense. We had multiple trials, few years ago, when they had the inspection on 75 highway, where they said, well, we didn't have notice of the change of the highway speed down to the 50 or whatever it was, the trooper was sitting right there. And so we were able to show with a ton of photographic evidence, the. Warning of reduction speed ahead, and then pictures of all the, speed signs before they got to that part. Well, here, we wouldn't have that, and their defense is gonna be, well, state statute is such and such unless otherwise posted, so. We'll need to address that with him, I can visit with him on.
So the sheriff will know, or do we need to?
Well, I'm just, since he's the one proposing it, I'll ask him, that question, when you spoke to other counties that have done this. What,
Actually, we brought it to him.
I'm not sure. He
Oh, okay.
proposed it. We brought, yeah.
okay,
But I thought we had a statute that said that our speed limit was 55 otherwise posted, or is it a state?
yeah, that's the thing, otherwise posted, so if you're making it 45. There has to be some, the statute speaks in terms of appropriate signs giving notice of speed of different. So how we achieve that, we're aiming every county, that's 45.
And how often do you have to put those signs up?
Well.
Every
it's
mile
case
or
by
every-
case. Well, I mean, it's just case by case, there's no set case law or statute, it's just reasonable or appropriate, so, I'd say a notice from the main artery onto like if you're like the old highway to Robinson. At each point in the county where again there's a reduction, you should be sufficient in my mind. Of doing that, but so I don't, you might want to start off with specific ones that you've had concerns or issues with first and then go back.
This is a road longevity complaint. It's not necessarily a speed issue
No,
anyway.
I
I
see.
just slow the folks down so the roads last long. Yeah, you're out.
Heavier weight vehicle and
Yeah.
fast. Back in the day, you didn't have 80,000 pounds going down the road. Yeah, it's just taking a wear and tear on the road, you know, when you slam on your brakes and slowing thing 80,000 versus 40,000 pounds down. You know, it's just.
Well, we can check with KDC and the league and just see if others have designated. And I'll see if John's heard from any other sheriffs on how they took care of the appropriate notice, but I'll check. with you.
Did we have a resolution that states what our speed limit?
You can
was?
set your speed limits by resolution, and it's just a resolution violation, so, it goes to the district court. Similar to others, but, so you can't raise it higher than the state, you can reduce it. So in other words, we couldn't say, well, we're gonna bet 90 on county highway, but the statute allows for reduction. But it also talks about an appropriate notice, so that's the part we'll have to
My
address.
country cabin, we would, sometime or other that would be just reduced to 45 for 2 miles.
Yeah, I think by resolution,
So there probably is a resolution somewhere where we did that.
yeah, I've done resolutions before. My comment was, if we're doing every one in the county, we'll have to discuss how we do appropriate notice. So that's, yeah, yeah, we can do, you have the legal authority to do it. So,
Well,
all
thank
right,
you
I'll
very
do that.
much.
Sure.
Have a good rest of your day.
All right.
Okay, anything else to come before the board? Before we,
And
you need,
well, I think the commission, I want to do a 5-minute executive session with 3 commissioners just for performance.
all right,
Second,
Gonna be a quick one, and that would be it. I don't have anything else after that.
you're moving second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
aye.
all right, that was fast. Thanks, Chris. All right, we're out of executive session, back into regular session, and there's no binding action taken. Is there any more business to come before the Board of Commissioners? Speak now.
So that about spraying the weeds, so we need to do that, work session, or we need to do that.
Do we need to take any action on it? He's asking about policy for spraying weeds at a county road barn. Will we be taking any action on it, or is it just information?
Oh, I think something needs to be done about it.
Is there supposedly a policy in place or?
I don't know, my understanding, they've done it in the past, but maybe not in the last couple of years. Cause I've heard complaints about last year. And this year, it sounds like,
I think last year wasn't the situation was they wanted to buy the chemical.
you know,
Foreman was wanting to spray it himself.
well, cause it wasn't getting done otherwise. I think they prefer somebody else to do it, but it wasn't getting done.
Is there a noxious weed director policy that we? Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I've seen it. He sent an explanation of what he does. His control policy was sent on the 16th of June. This is when I'd asked him to just write down his guidelines, what he sprays and weather conditions. Yeah, I'm not sure what the history. Man, that's a good question. I don't know, why is it,
What,
do you know, why is it an issue to spray versus?
the email I saw. This, that quick said he sprays noxious weeds. Only sprays noxious weeds.
Okay. Well, and that's probably by policy, that's what he's got.
So when he sprays for the state on the roads. Are the noxious weeds along all the roads, or?
Isn't that what his contract used to spray the noxious weed?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what he's targeting.
Do we need to plant some noxious weeds over there so he can spray them?
Well, no, I think we probably need to have, if he needs to spray it, we need to ask. You know, if he can work it in when he's out that way.
But
I can reach out to him. I'll
Okay.
find out what's going on.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine.
cause the city's kind of getting after him. I mean, the city's got policies.
Yeah, you can do it up to time, but you done for me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we talked to him, that's fine. Fair enough?
Mhm.
Okay, right on.
I would say most anything you spray, but
What?
it's good. Didn't kill about anything that's out there that in your lot, I mean. Yeah.
So when he's spraying he's gonna spray something to kill the noxious weeds. He told me what it was. He's going after Johnson grass thistles, Lespedeza. And what he does on lots is more of like a big time soil sterile type of thing.
Neutralize.
Yeah, so nothing will grow. So you call him, see what, and then report back.
All right.
Anything else?
We'll be in your Thursday.
That's right. Right on. Hey, we should just. That's true. Be here Thursday. Okay. Anything else, Bill or Richard?
Think it's
Okay.
all
Okay.
That's good.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second
Okay, moving seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, meeting adjourned. We do have a work session.